Testing mic volumes 1, 2, 3. Tell me if it's too loud. I'll turn the music down. Testing, testing 1, 2, 3. What's up, Ben? Oh, it's hard to hear you. It's very quiet. If I turn the music way down, let me see what happens. Here's the thing, man. If I could only get Discord to stop doing that hardware acceleration thing that it does and stopping me from using my mic. If only.
I have no idea how you do that.
I don't either. But apparently it's a thing.
Okay, am I still too quiet?
Yeah, let me see if I can turn you up on my end. You just do this. Go ahead and give me a couple of words of wisdom.
Hello, testing. Input variable sound la 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 la. Hello, how's it going?
I have you cranked up on my end.
That's weird. My microphone should be all the way up.
That's good enough. It's starting to hit yellow. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, no, it is all turned all the way up. I don't know. Let me see if I change the microphone to my. I might pick up stuff there. How's that?
No, that's echoey, like you're far away now.
Yeah, okay. This will do that. I don't know.
It's good. It's good. It's whatever. It is whatever.
Okay. Cool.
How's it going, man? How's it going?
Yeah, it's fine. Started a couple of new jobs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we've been pretty busy.
Up there in the Great White North. How's the temp up there? How's the weather?
It's okay. It was snowing a little bit.
Oh, that's fun.
Yesterday. But kind of like a wet. It wasn't really, didn't settle or anything.
It crept up into the 80s up here. Fahrenheit.
And yeah, I have no idea how hot that is.
I'm going to literally go look it up for you. Hold on.
Let's see. Okay, 26. Oh, yeah, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, there you go. Is it just you add 32? No, what's the conversion?
I can't remember.
Mine is 32 times 5 nights. That's the conversion.
Yeah,
I'm never doing that. I'm never doing that in my head. That's so difficult.
Yep. Okay.
It's like 27. 27. That's it's a hot day. We were outside outside at a like a fall festival thing, trying to get the kids some both energy burned out, but also have them on a good time, and it got a bit warm.
Yeah, you could be out the whole day like that.
It was rough.
Yeah.
So what you got going on besides the new jobs? Looking forward to any new games besides this new set coming out?
Not really. I don't know. I want to try the. What do I want to try? I want to try that new Reef game. But have you heard about
the new
that?
what?
Like,
no.
Reef.
As in like coral reef?
Yeah. It's like from Emerson Matsuuchi, who did Spectre Ops.
No, I haven't heard of it.
Century Spice Road.
I've heard of Spice Road.
Yeah, it's like from the same line as Azul.
Yeah.
So it's like the newest one in the Azul line. So I think it should be pretty good. Sounds good. And then apart from that, I don't know. Really
do you do any other card game stuff?
No, not really. I used to play Magic a little bit, but I was really bad at it. Or I wasn't really bad at it. The people playing weren't very nice.
Yeah, that's a common complaint in the Magic the Gathering community, isn't it?
Yeah, they're all just, I don't know what it is about Magic.
I met some nice people playing Magic. I mean, I played it very, very sparingly. Like,
yeah, sure.
Literally a handful full of times. And I think I owned like Magic 2013 on Steam and played that a bunch.
Well, I'm sure if you did it like locally, it'd be fine. Just when I was doing it, when I went to like bigger meetups in London.
Yeah. Not so much.
People would just like kill you and then just like make
laugh
fun.
about it.
I don't know.
Because you didn't bring something meta. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, they were just like so I lost. We did a draft event as well, and I did a draft, and they just like were just like, oh yeah, your deck was really terrible,
and that's cool. The end.
Yeah.
You see anything about the Transformers trading card game? I've considered buying some packs of it, but I didn't actually slap down the money on it.
Yeah, I don't know how interested I am in that. Keyforge, maybe I might try out.
I am definitely going to buy several decks of Keyforge just to crack open, take a look at, and play. The gameplay looks okay. It looks kind of interesting. Looks like there's some interesting, like build up a board state versus trying to use your board state in different ways kind of thing going on, which is interesting to me.
Yeah, I don't know if I need to get into a TCG that doesn't have any deck building out there.
That's the interesting thing to me. I think that's what makes it interesting to just sort of pick up and drop after a little while. You just kind of pick it up for low-key, chill appeal, and then drop it whenever, and then pick it back up. That sort of thing. Seems kind of nice. You don't have to sit there and put a ton of time and effort into, like, I need to perfect this because of this matchup and that. You just pick one up, and if it goes horribly, you forget about it.
Yeah, I kind of like that. Deck building is the best thing, though. My favorite kind of.
I've been thinking about that game a lot, and maybe it is one of those things where it does become like search out this card and try to create a league about deck building anyway, even though it's not allowed, as long as you have certain parameters. That would be kind of interesting if something comes up of that, because I think that game is really cool. Cool
idea.
It'd be
interesting to see what they do with like ban, like his. How can you ban? You can't ban a card, right? Like.
No, you really can't. Well, I guess you could. You could definitely ban a card. You just take away all of the decks. Right? Yeah, you take away all of the decks that run that card.
Ban it.
Yeah.
I guess so, but like someone's just gonna have a super broken deck, aren't they? I mean, that's
eventually. Hence why I'm kind of okay with it being just one of those casual games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm kind of annoyed by the Warhammer coming out.
I know. I heard about that. I saw that post.
I'm gonna have like maybe a week to play with it.
This is what we're doing. It's gonna help. You're gonna go. That card's not even worth my time.
To be fair, I did look through it yesterday, and I'm really not. I think all the stuff is like C range, D range.
Oh, spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
I know. Are we live? Am I talking?
Oh, we're totally live. Yeah, we're totally live right now. We've been live for 20 minutes.
I feel like a lot of the stuff is fun, and I feel like there's a lot of teams that can be built from this stuff. But I don't know if anything's like. Depends how good range is, I guess. Maybe you have a range team that's super meta, but I don't see any individual pieces really being that broken.
Not a ton of broken stuff. I think there's a ton of fun stuff. I think this set is going to be extremely fun, both in and out of set, just team building wise, which again is part of the reason why I love the game, like you were mentioning.
Yeah. I feel like you can definitely do like a team from each of the kind of team packs and teams from the they're definitely
pretty much
people to mess with.
Yeah, they pretty much nailed the thematic element on this set, is my opinion. General opinion of it. They just did a really good job of getting the thematic feel.
I think it'd be cool for yeah. I wish some of them had retaliation. I thought that'd be a cool like Space Wolves.
Something like that. Yeah, that would make it pretty fun. But I'm happy with the set overall, and I guess we can talk about all of that. Epic card game. It's different. You ever played Epic?
No, I haven't.
We're talking like the one on the computer.
No,
like
it's called Epic. It's just called Epic. It's like a big box standalone card. I don't even know if they have expansions for it. You buy it and then it has all the stuff in it, and it's kind of like
it's an LCG.
I think it's like the bigger monster. The idea behind it is you don't have to do the build up, like you do in Magic or in Dice Masters, where you buy the bigger characters later. Like you have the massive characters in your hands.
Huh.
But you both have them, and you kind of just smack each other as hard as you can.
Well, there you go. That's hilarious.
But I don't know. Yeah, I didn't hear that good a thing. I didn't hear that many good things about it.
Really?
Yeah, like the reviews, I don't think were that favorable. But
it seems kind of cool. There's an Epic on the Android that I've seen, or maybe I'm misremembering the name of it, but I thought it was the one that was worked on by a bunch of the Magic the Gathering pros that they kind of put together. If it is, it sounded interesting.
It might be the same thing. Yeah, it might be the...
What are some of the new things that have come out lately? Let's see. Keyforge is coming out. This is coming out in November, on November 14th. Transformers TCG. People are talking... I think Destiny is still being played, right? People still play that game.
I don't know. Yeah. I guess so. I don't even know if they have a new set. Actually.
There's a new set coming out, I think. I don't remember what it's called, but it's based around something.
Like Ashes, Rise of the Phoenix Born released their new stuff, and I don't think it did that well. Just based on, because I'm working in a board game store actually.
Oh, that's cool.
As one of my jobs. Just based
that's
on
a cool
that,
gig.
what I've heard there. Arkham Horror, the card game, is like the big one.
They have a card game version?
Yeah. It's like it's a co-op game, and like you do different scenarios, and then like depending on what you do in the scenario, you might get some different cards to add to your deck, and you can like deck build in between scenarios.
And that seems fun.
And it's all co-op.
Oh, you know what? I totally saw that. Yeah, the deck builder version of the game. I didn't realize it was co-op though. I thought it was PvP or whatever you want to call it. Whatever the term is, you know.
Yeah, and then X-Wing, just talking about collectible games, X-Wing did their shift into second edition, and I think that's gone over very well.
Really? Has it?
I don't think so. I think it's...
I thought it was,
in my opinion,
poor. I thought people said it was
super
a bummer.
expensive. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I said. I don't think it went over very well.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like it would, honestly.
Well, the conversion kits are like $40, and you have to buy multiples if you want them for your team. Like it's like mad amounts of money.
That is bonkers. Well, it's a miniatures game too, and so that already requires like a standard price of entry, like a high price of entry. So
yeah.
I guess maybe that's more use. Maybe they're more used to it. Who knows? I guess you could ask the HeroClix community, because that is a miniatures game as well. So that's a good question. You ready to get this thing cracking?
Let's go for it.
There's a couple people hanging out with us. We could just do it. All right. I'm going to give us 5 seconds, and I'm going to press a little button. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Pressing button now. What's up, everybody hanging out with us? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to our card review stream for the Warhammer 40k set, which is due to drop now in November, which is, I believe, November 14th. Is that right, Ben?
Yes,
it's November 14th, which is pretty close, surprisingly. I wasn't quite sure if they were going to drop it in November, since they hadn't released a date, and usually they go towards the beginning of the month, but here it is, November 14th, so smack in the middle, 1 week before United States Thanksgiving if you're in the U.S. But Ben, you're with us, and you're not in the U.S., right?
No, I am not. Thanksgiving was in Canada ages ago.
Yeah, a while back, right?
I don't know when.
So welcome, Ben. Welcome, Ben. The one, the only international... Well, not the only international champion. Is that right? I don't know.
I think someone has won more than just one nationals.
But you're here nonetheless, and I'm excited to have you here because we're going to talk about these cards.
I'm excited to be here.
Sweet. Well, let's go over the rating system. We're going to do an A through F rating, and if we give a card an A, then that is us basically saying that that card is has a possibility, a high chance of making it to the high-level meta of Dice Masters, things that you would run at high-level WKOs or Nationals or Worlds. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's how we rated it, isn't that not?
Yeah, even if it's not going to be, well, it's almost guaranteed to be run by someone at a top 8 or,
somewhere in one of those highly competitive events. So that's an A, and that is the least likely to get rated because those cards are few and far between. And in Dice Masters, it's really one of those things where all of the cream of the crop really do rise to the top and eliminate everything else because you only have 8 slots on your team plus 2 basic actions. You're not running into a lot of those cards being printed because you're not running into a lot of those cards. They all sort of cut each other down, if that makes any sense. As for B cards, we're talking about cards that are good semi-competitive cards, things that you want to run a lot because they're good, but they just don't cut it quite enough. They're not quite good enough to make it into those top-level things. You bring them to a casual tournament or something like that, and you're going to do really, really well. This is a win con on a lot of teams. I don't know. What else do you want to say about the B section? Because we gave a lot of Bs, if I remember.
Yeah, I think they're like cards that make up the 6th, 7th, and 8th slot on your team, right? You get the big cards that you're going to win, and then the good utility cards that deserve to be there, but aren't going to be the stars of your...
They're cards that they're sometimes cards that you want to build around as well. So maybe not cut into the top meta, but they're definitely cards that encourage you to build this sort of team, because of this really pretty decent ability, really awesome ability in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
The C cards I think are good all around, like you said, 6, 7, and 8 card slots on semi-competitive teams or casual teams, decent cards on casual teams. These are cards that you do not mind running, cards that you will reach for in certain cases, but may not be the first purchase on your team or the second purchase on your team because you're going for that win con first. Cards that are pretty decent all around and may not be super duper flashy. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly that.
Yep. D cards to me, and this is I think where we sometimes branch off, but D cards to me are cards that they exist and you could totally buy them and they would have some sort of an impact, but there are cards that do the same thing better and or are pretty fringe in general. Cards that may not see play most of the time or see purchasing most of the time if you put it on a team.
Yeah, I also put cards where you kind of get the same ability as previous generations, but the previous ones did it better.
Yeah.
So why play this one when you can play the other one?
It's the card that you could put on a team, but you're really only putting it there because you want to give yourself a challenge rather than playing a card that is clearly one that you want to put onto your team because it's good.
Yeah, well,
it may just be fun
or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It may just be fun to run that card because it has some sort of an attachment to you or something like that. And then F cards are cards that you want to immediately take out of the box and then put on your coffee table and put your drink on because it's got no more purpose besides that. Cards that may be great for art projects. Maybe you glue it to a poster board for your child's art project or create a collage with. Maybe you cut it out and do that cool 3D printed thing that people were doing where they cut out like 40 of the same card. Though now that would be a lot more expensive, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, that would be cool. Yeah.
Those were cool, though. Those were really cool.
Well, yeah, I remember those. Yeah, they're also cards I just don't put in sleeves. These are
yeah, exactly.
They just go straight into the binder.
Do you sleeve all of your cards? That was a curious question.
I generally do.
Wow, that's a lot of sleeves.
But sometimes, yeah, I know. The last few sets I haven't as much. I put the cards I know I'm going to be using a lot into sleeves.
Yeah.
And I generally take them off. These F cards from other sets, like Beta Ray Bill, is always just never coming out of my thing.
There you go, Beta Ray Bill. So. R.I.P. Beta Ray Bill, because that card is that character has been totally messed up by Dice Masters. Sorry.
It's also like really early in the alphabet, right? So they're the ones I go to first to take the sleeves off.
There you go. That's true. I do not sleeve very many of my cards at all. I actually took a super rare out of my binder, realized it wasn't sleeved, and then just played with it anyway, unsleeved. So, yeah, I should probably do that. I should probably sleeve my cards, but that's just my personality. Anyway, that's the A through F rating system. We're going to go through everything in the Battle for Ultramar box. So everything that you could possibly get in Battle for Ultramar, we will give an A through F rating that includes the basic actions. So we're going to go alphabetically, which is strange because it starts with F of all places. But this is also sort of a brand new, IP, and a lot of these are really weirdly named, so they're going to be really fun to pronounce. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Ben, you ready?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right, let's kick it off. So we're going to start with Fetid Bloat Drone, the Flesh Mower. You want to go ahead and read the ability, if you have access to it?
I do. So it's 5-cost shield, it has deadly. And when Fetid Bloat Drone attacks, all opposing character dice must block if able.
Actually, the Flesh Mower is the different one. That's the one where it attacks. Yeah, weirdly enough, and this is not a call-out in any way, shape, or form, but the Dice Coalition Team Builder has these in sort of backwards or messed up order.
Ooh, did I put them in the right... Ooh.
No, I mixed it up for us, so we're all good.
Okay.
This is the one... This is the one that's a 6-drop shield character with both of those affiliations.
Fetid Bloat Drone attacks, all opposing character dice get -3 attack until
Woohoo! Attack. Yeah, -3 attack.
I'm with you.
So yeah, how you feeling?
I think I'm a bit more. So I feel like there's something with this. On the surface of it, I gave it a D+. I couldn't think of anything personally. But I feel like if there are characters that trigger when blocked or when attacks with really high fielding that you want to keep in the field, it might be useful for that. If you just keep on an attack over and over again with them. But I couldn't think of anything.
No, I have this as a D as well. I think this is one of those cards, especially at 6, where it just doesn't do enough for you. Like, I get the same feeling where you could do something with this if there was just something that you wanted to keep around and keep getting blocked, but it's just not impactful enough for a 6-drop, especially with not a advantageous stat line as it is a 4/7.
I guess maybe
because even when
this Arch Nemesis clip will be pretty good though with it.
Sure, it could be, but then again, I'm thinking like you have the 6-drop that is a 4/7, so you're telling me I only have to take 4 damage to get this out of the field and not mess around with it. It's not the biggest. Yep. So I don't know. It's just one of those things. I'm not seeing the big punch.
Just take that. I mean, if it's going to be that much of a boon for them to have it on their team, you probably just take the 4 and then they have to cycle it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Especially at 6, you're only getting this ability once in a while. So, not the best way to start off the card review. No one's like chomping at the bit for.
-3 is good.
It is very good, but it's just
That's
not
why I gave
hitting.
it that plus.
It's
That's
just
why I
not
gave it that plus.
Yeah, it makes you consider, right? It makes you think.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. Let's go to Fetid Bloat Drone Plague Probe. This one's a lot more interesting. This one's a 5-drop shield character that says, while Fetid Bloat Drone, and let me change off this there so I can easy. While Fetid Bloat Drone is active, when an opposing sidekick or level 1 character die is KO'd, you may field a sidekick die from your used pile. And that is both if you're that's just an opposing character. But then you get this cool global ability that says pay a shield. Once per turn on your turn, sacrifice a sidekick character die. So sacrificing, for those that don't know, is putting a sidekick into your used from field zone. So after you've done both of those things, then you draw and roll 2 dice, place them in your reserve. So that's kind of cool.
Yes, it is cool. I think the global is the most shiny thing here. and it needs some working with to test it. Obviously, thing is Spot, right, where you get to draw 4 instead of 2.
Yeah, so you put Spot out there, you use the ability, and because Spot's ability gives you for each die that you draw and roll, you do an extra one. You would be drawing and rolling 4 dice at global speed for the cost of 1 sidekick being moved into out of play and a shield.
I definitely think there's something there with messing with your bag, like turn 2. You'd be able, or turn 3 even. You know, you'd be able to roll the thing you buy on turn 3.
Yeah, I see this being something that you could see on a team at Nats or Worlds, just because it does something like you're saying. You just tweak the bag a little bit on turn 3, you get 6 dice that you're rolling on that turn, and you get to something a little quicker. Yeah, I could definitely see this making a team. That being said, I give this a B+.
Yeah, I did as well. I'm just not convinced how useful the global will be. It needs messing around with for me to definitely give it an A.
I will also say that it being a 5-drop, which is a little hard to get to, but the ability itself is pretty nice. It's worth considering even buying it, just because you can trigger a couple of other interesting things with a sidekick.
Yeah, I'm always a big fan
coming on the field.
Big fan of being able to field on your opponent's turn.
Yeah, based on random trigger.
Magic Missile. Yeah, Magic Missile, you ping off one of their sidekicks. You get to field a sidekick from your... It could be pretty effective if you have some way of clearing, you know, with a Jubilee Awaken or something where you can do a massive amount of damage.
And then you prep a massive amount of dice, or field a massive amount of dice from your use.
Sidekicks, yeah. Interesting.
Pretty cool.
And definitely a B+.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Next up, we've got the one that you were mentioning earlier. This is Putrid Explosion. What do you got for this one? I was just
very excited by this one.
Yeah, so it gives deadly. It's got deadly, excuse me.
It does, and I think this one is a tricky card to rate, actually, because there are several... When you look at it, first off, it's very kind of, wow, this is really good. It has a caveat of they don't have to just block the fetid bloat drone, so there's no guarantee.
Yes. Whatever it gets blocked by will die. But that doesn't mean you have to necessarily block this. It does force all of your opponent's stuff to block something, though, which means they could just like all gang up on a sidekick and let whatever else go through.
Yeah, and then the other caveat is that they're just going to let it through for 2, 4, or 4, aren't they? So they don't have to deal with it next turn.
Correct.
But if you're not attacking with stuff, it's an excellent way to remove your opponent's field. If that's the only thing you need to be attacking with.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, if you just push with this, then they do have to block. All of them have to block this.
Clears their whole field. So if you can do... So I was thinking in tandem with something like Wonder Woman or Madame Mask.
So they can't blink it back or anything.
You stop when fielded, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if they blink it back, it doesn't matter. Deadly triggers as soon as they're engaged.
Yep. Yeah, so I can see if...
distraction.
The only issue with just pushing with this means you're sort of wasting your attack step at that point, and you're kind of hoping that, you know, next turn some of these things don't roll. So there's a little bit of risk reward.
You definitely need it on a team where you're not using the attack step anyway. Something like
a burn team,
team.
That's true.
Yeah, a burn team or a Yanti team where you're just kind of, I'm sitting here. It's going to be your job to get enough characters out to stop whatever I do.
Yeah.
And if you're clearing off a Scarlet Witch, a Shriek, whatever else control they have, Blob.
That's true. It does control the control. Yeah. Totally.
I think it could be a useful piece. I don't know whether it's.
I will say
going to be meta defining at 5 cost. If it was 4 cost, I think it would be yes, definitely.
5 cost made me put this at a C, but the fact that you can pull out all control is a great point that I didn't really think about. So I'll give it a C+. I'll bump it up because it's like right on the edge. Because of that 5 cost, it's a little hard to get to.
Yeah, I went for a B. I think, again, this is another card you need to mess around with and see how useful it can be on one of those teams. But great fielding costs, so if it gets knocked out, if you can control your bag and get it through a bunch of times, or get it to attack a bunch of times, I think it's going to be useful. But
exactly. All right, let's move on to a character that I am interested in. Several of these Lord of Contagions. The first one that we have is Man Reaper. Lord of Contagion Man Reaper, and it's a 5-drop bolt character with those same double affiliations. A 5/5 on top, so it's a little low for a 5-drop on the attack stats and defensive stats. But it says while Lord of Contagion is active, when you field a God, what I forgot that thing is called.
The Plague Marines.
Yeah, there you go. When you field the plaguey things, I don't know. Character, I should really know that. Other than Lord of Contagion, any of those dice other than Lord of Contagion deal 1 damage to target opponent. How do you make with this one? What do you make?
I'm a bit less excited than you are by this. I think it makes you want to build a Plague Marine team, I guess. But the 1 damage, I feel like it's a little bit slow. There are a bunch of cheap Plague Marines, which is good.
Yep. Yes, there are.
I was at a C. This is a fun, casual win condition.
It is. It is a fun, casual win condition. I will say there are a lot of things that do see a ton of play that deal 1 damage incrementally, like pings, like Jubilee, but those are all 2 drops.
Yeah,
which is 5 cost. Which is why it's a lot more difficult to gauge this compared to that. But having already put together a Lord of Contagion and just like spammy team with like Poxwalker, I tried both the 1-drop and the 2-drop Poxwalker that gets big, as well as the what's the 2-drop that we're going to talk about later that's really sweet, the Plague Marine one. Yeah, I put that team together and it was a lot of fun, and it was the 1 damage really did add up a lot. Because I was able to field all of those. And there's swarm characters too. There's swarm characters. Yeah. Now, if we consider this outside of Modern Age and go into Golden Age, then there's a ton more combos that you can put with this, including like Blue Eyes to make the cost of this cheaper, that sort of thing. So I give this like a B. If I wanted to talk to myself, like take pie in the sky out of it and tell you really what it is, it's more like a B- because it is sort of like a win con on a casual team, that sort of thing. So for that, it's probably a B-, maybe more like a C+, B-, but my heart of hearts says it's a B, just because I like the casualness of it, and it's pretty powerful overall, having messed with it. The next one is a 4-drop Plague Reaper. So it drops in stats, in purchase cost. And it says, while it is active when a sidekick character die is KO'd, all other character dice get +1/+1, and that's both players' character dice get that buff, which is kind of interesting. What do you got?
This is cool. Again, I feel like we've seen similar things to this. My main issue with it is your opponent can utilize it as well as you can, I guess, especially if you're using something like Magic Missiles to trigger it, or like a basic action to trigger it. If your opponents know what they're doing, they can do it back to you effectively.
Certainly. If you're doing like Magic Missile or something, is what you're saying?
Yeah. So if you have a bunch of sidekicks out to take advantage of the buffs, because what you want to do, right, is clear their field by pinging off a bunch of sidekicks, then swing through with your buffed sidekicks. But they could do it back to you, I guess, is the thing.
If you put it, exactly. If you put something on your team that allows them to. Now, if you're looking at sort of like a staff team that uses Seething Corruption, but then you hide the ping trigger on your team to where they can't access it, something like a Jubilee, Spin Up, Awaken sort of thing, then they're buying Seething Corruption and just staring because they can't actually trigger it as well.
So my thing with that is that a trigger like the Jubilee Awaken is 1 trigger of this, right? So all your characters only get +1/+1. It's not for each sidekick. It's when a psychic character dies, KO'd.
Correct.
What you want to do, ideally, is knock out several of their sidekicks at separate times.
No, it'll trigger if you knock out 3. It'll give everything +3/+3. Is that what you're saying?
I think because if you trigger it with 1 ability, doesn't it only trigger once?
No, you can say Dice Masters is always use the wording of when to mean whenever. So if like 3 sidekick character dice are KO'd
from the same instance, though, is that
it doesn't matter. I don't think that's ever mattered before.
Then maybe that's interesting. I don't know how effective this will be. I gave it a C.
I see this being good if you throw it onto exactly like a board sweep Seething Corruption staff team, because then even if you get, well, let's say it like this. Let's say you have not that team and you just have like Magic Missile, right? Even though they can take advantage of it, and that's kind of bad. But you get +1/+1 on like 6 dudes and you have a slight board advantage. That's still pretty decent. That's not terrible for a 4
No,
drop.
it's good.
You know,
I
like
gave it a C. I'd be
on the
I
right
could be
team, I
convinced
could
going
even
up.
see this. On the right team, I could see this being like a B, and that's what I gave it. I gave this a B. So I could see this being a way for you to build a staff team that doesn't require you to put on specific, like, kind of high cost cards that may be good for, you know, pushing through on a staff team. So it could be something there. I say B.
It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see how it is. I think it would need a ruling, no?
For the instance, what you were saying earlier?
Yeah.
Sure. The third one.
Because if not, I mean, something like Breath Weapon, right? Sorry, Breath Weapon with this would be super good.
Yeah, it would be. Actually, that's a great point. Yeah, it would be really good. And
I guess the thing is, you need to trick your opponent into fielding sidekicks.
Yeah, either trick them into a fielding sidekicks or play any game where sidekicks matter, like with Mimic Ramp. Yeah, something like that. But sidekicks matter in a lot of matchups because sidekicks are just generally good. Yeah. Even just, you know, pulling stuff out of the bag and onto the field is just generally good Dice Masters play, you know?
Yeah,
so they would have to...
Professor X.
Exactly, yeah. They would have to really, really slow themselves down by not fielding sidekicks just to play around that. So,
yeah.
The last one has range 2. It's a 5-drop again, and it says, while Lord of Contagion is active, when a damaged character die, either player's blocks, KO it. What do you think about that?
It depends how good range is, I suppose. I'm not particularly sold on range at the moment. I know a lot of people are very excited for it. It's interesting. I don't like the stats on a character that has to attack.
That has to attack? What do you mean?
To do the range ability.
Oh, true. Yeah. Well, if any ranged character die attacks, it triggers all range. So if you had some other range alongside of it, then you would be able to trigger this without pushing.
No, don't they have to attack? Oh, okay, I guess they do.
Any ranged character attacks, all range triggers. So then this can trigger.
The secondary ability is kind of neither here nor there. It's not going to ever matter, is it?
Well, you could make it matter because this has range built in. So you use the range ability to deal damage to one of the character dice. Let's say you use it to deal damage to, like, Uncommon Thor. That's a pesky card. If Uncommon Thor... Well, let's say something else because you wouldn't ever block with Uncommon Thor, right? Just some random... Some random, you know, some really good thing that you want out of the field. Shriek. I don't know. Maybe Shriek. If that Shriek character die blocks, then it gets KO'd. If it doesn't block, then you're not... you know, that your opponent's letting something through. Because all of a sudden you've dealt that 2 damage to it with range.
That might be true, but I'd rather just have a bunch of range and ping it off. I'm not sold on the fact that you could ping enough things with just this card that they're going to be forced in. They might be forced to let a sidekick through, or
true,
the 3 attack on Lord of Contagion. I'm letting through 3 attack.
Yeah, definitely.
4 attack to keep the thing I really want to stay on the field.
I see it being sort of a hard, well, not hard, but a more complicated version of, like, spot removal, like a single target removal thing, because it has the range keyword built in alongside of this caveat where it makes your opponent choose, well, if I block with this, it gets KO'd no matter what. Even though I got to block, then it, you know, and that the once blocked, always blocked thing happens. I still lose this die, or I let something go through so this thing doesn't go away. That being said, I don't think it's, you know, hugely impactful. I give this like a C.
No, yeah, I just don't. I gave it D plus. I don't. I think the range 2 is interesting if range is good. The rest of it, I don't think that secondary ability is ever going to make a difference.
I actually don't think range on a high character is good, a high cost character, and I don't really value range 2 over range 1, honestly, which is kind of strange to say, but having played around with it a little bit, it just doesn't have the impact that range 1 does on a smaller drop.
Because what you kind of want is you kind of want a magic missile ping again.
Yeah, it becomes that basically.
And you just wait until they block with the thing you don't want to block with, and then you ping it, right?
Yeah. All right, let's move on to a card I really want to hear you talk about. You ready? This is Malignant Plague Caster, a 5-drop. This is Blades of Putrefaction. So it's got an 042, 152, 262 stat line. And it says, when fielded, reroll each opposing level 1 or level 2 character die. That includes yours. It says KO any... Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, it says opposing. My bad. KO any dice that roll an energy face and return the rest to the field zone. Your opponent may pay 1 per character die to ignore this ability in its entirety for that character die. So what you got?
I think it's pretty cool. It's not as good.
Whoa. Oh no, we lost him. Did we lose him for good is the question. I was so curious because, Ben, you still there?
And
oh, I lost you for that whole chunk.
Oh, sorry, I said it's not quite as good as Rare Batman or Umber Hulk was.
Sure.
But has probably more favorable fielding costs and a lower stat line defensively, while still having quite a big attack.
Meaning you can cycle it easier.
Cycle it easier, right? Yeah, sure. And I like the fact that they'd have to pay 1 energy, so they have to save an energy just in case you field it.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is a perfect kind of card to have on a collector team.
Let's see. You collector it in for 3 and choose to reroll level 1 or level 2 character dice. I think for me, and so what did you give this, by the way?
I gave it C+.
Yeah. I think that's probably about where it should be. I was a little more tepid on it, but it does say opposing level 1 or level 2, so it doesn't reroll your stuff, which is nice. So I would go something like a C-, just because there's a lot of caveats that just get around this. Like, say the one thing that you want to reroll, that you really need to reroll is out there, and they just have 1 energy. Well, then there you go. Or it's level 3. They don't even have to worry about it. You know, there's a lot of little caveats that make it not quite optimal, like those cards you mentioned. And sure, maybe it shouldn't be. You know, maybe it shouldn't be optimal. But that being said, it feels like a lot of hoops to jump through to get, you know, that 1 thing or 2 things removed.
But I mean, again, it gets rid of a bunch of sidekicks if they have a bunch of. It's a way to thin their field rather than.
It definitely gets rid of a bunch of sidekicks, and on a collector team, you just collector it in, like you said. So yeah, you get a C+.
You just use a Rare Batman, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I put it at C+ rather than a B. I think if this was the only kind of ability like this, it'd be really strong, and people would definitely consider it.
Yeah, because the other one's a 5-drop too. It's a fist character 5-drop as well, right?
Yeah, but it has a bit. If you buy it straight up, it's 1, 2, 3 fielding, whereas 0, 1, 2 fielding.
Yeah, exactly.
And has a beefy defense, whereas this is easily going to get removed, and you can field it again.
Correct, and they're not letting it through because of the 6 or the 5.
Yeah,
maybe the 4, but that's still a quarter of your life essentially.
Yep.
The next malignant plague caster is Miasma of Pestilence. Yes, I really wanted to say it that way. 5-drop when fielded, reroll target opposing character die. KO it if it shows an energy face, otherwise return it to the field zone on its rolled level. So this is literal single target removal right here.
Yep.
And let's see, what did I give this? I'll start. This is kind of cool. For the same reasons that you mentioned, it makes a good little removal tool because you can cycle it, right? It's easy to cycle with that 2 defense. Yep. I gave this a C- as well, just because maybe I'd up that to a C, just because it is single target removal, and it's more guaranteed. You pick something, and then if they roll it, then they do, and if they don't, they don't. It's basically like rolling Billy Club, right? Mm-hmm. Using Billy Club, but it's on a body.
Yeah. I'm less excited about this one than you are, which is kind of what we flip-flopped on these 2.
Yeah.
It's just, I think there's better when fielded KO a character kind of abilities. Like the Huntress, the Huntress?
Which one?
When you field it, you do its attack.
Yeah, that's a Huntress, yep.
I think that one's just straight up better for what the types of things you'll be removing.
That's true.
Because what you want to remove is a Shriek or a Scarlet Witch, or, you know.
Yeah, you're not removing a dragon with Huntress, but then again, if you have a dragon in the field against you, you're not going to live very long. Yeah. If you're playing Malignant Plague Caster.
Yeah, so I don't know what's better, buying one of these or buying 2 Huntresses. Do you know what I mean?
That's true. You could buy 2 Huntresses. Well, that would be a net 6, and then you have to pay the fielding. This would be a 5, and then you have to pay the fielding.
It's not terrible. I think it's a D, or I can see why you gave it a C.
It's playable. Certainly playable.
Yeah, definitely. You could put it on draft. I think it would be.
Oh yeah, in draft, especially for some of the big drops that have some impact, sort of, that you want to just get off the field and you can't really deal with it because there's not a lot outside of range of like direct damage. Move that. A couple of basic actions, but we'll get to that later.
Yep.
The Last Malignant Plague caster says putrescent vitality, and it's got frag, the frag keyword. How do you feel about frag?
Yeah, I'm not that excited about frag at all.
Yeah.
Maybe frag is good, so maybe I gave it a D. I'm giving it an F for now, just for my feelings on frag. I don't see how doing 1 damage to your opponent's field after
everything has happened.
Step it, yeah.
So
makes that much difference.
Yeah, frag doesn't scream really powerful to me. I mean, let's play out the let's play it out. So you attack with a 6/2. That's your best case scenario, right? Attack with a 6/2. You KO something that gets blocked because they obviously don't want to take 6 right off the top. So you KO, let's say, like a sidekick or whatever. Then you wipe the rest of the sidekicks off the board. Or if you push with like 3 other characters that all dealt 1 damage, maybe you wipe a bunch of 2 health characters off their board. At which point then they get to re-roll it because it's their turn.
Yep.
It just doesn't do enough, and it's really bad. I'm with you. It's an F.
I mean, like we said with the Fetid Bloat Drone, I think there is some value in clearing fields, even if it's during your attack step. Just because then they have to try and re-roll them, and it's a dice game. You might get lucky, especially if you keep attacking. Especially if you keep attacking, right? If you keep clearing their field, at some point they're going to miss the collector or the thing they really want. The Wolverine that wins them the game.
Several people are saying to pass on this one. Yeah. It's kind of worth passing, especially if you're in draft. Pass it.
Yeah,
pass it. All right, moving on to
good stats.
That's true. Good, especially good for cycling. Moving on to Mortarion, Host of Plagues, a 7-drop shield. When fielded, deal damage to all opposing players and character dice equal to Mortarion's level. So if you field him on a level 1, obviously deals 1, 2, or 3 based on the level. It's also got a global that says pay a shield. Target character die gets +1 defense. So you could technically give something defense and then field this to not wipe it. But it's a 7-drop. Yeah, it's an 8/9 on top. And it's kind of cool that it's dealing 3 and maybe wiping some like low defense statted boards. And then maybe you get through with 8 and then you deal 11 damage in 1 turn. That's like best case scenario. It's pretty cool. But it's a 7-drop.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. No.
If it were a 6-drop,
maybe.
If it was a 6-drop, I'd definitely. But here's the thing: I like this ability. I wish they would have printed it, or I wish they do print it something, down the road that's a little less statted or a little less expensive, so that we can make use of that. Because I think that's a really cool ability.
On a 3 cost, something with a 2, 3, 4 stat line.
Yeah,
this is going well, right?
Oh my gosh, that would be really sick.
With some spin ups. I mean,
that
this
would be
is doing
super
good.
Sick.
It triggers
when fielded, deal damage to all opposing players. So it's a when fielded effect. You can't really
triggers it at a good time. Yeah,
it's kind of cool. I don't know. It's a 7-drop though. It's just too much. So I would give this like a D. I think that's what you gave it, right?
I gave it an F/D.
Oh really?
I was a bit mean. I think probably.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. I'd give it a D though. Definitely. It would be fun. Someone mentioned in the chat it would be fun on a casual team. I agree. It would be fun on a casual team.
It's kind of like what was that card? The Orion.
Yeah. It's similar to that.
The one where it attacks when it's fielded deals 2 damage to your opponent. When it attacks, it deals 2 damage.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the Deadpool. I think it was either the common or the rare Scarlet Witch, where when you fielded her, she dealt 1 damage to all dice and an extra damage to fist characters. That one was fun, and there were some interesting combos you could do. It would remind me of that. That was like a 4-drop. This is a 7-drop, and it just deals it to opponent as well. Which is
so that's why I mentioned the Orion, right? That was a 7 cost, and that did 4 damage in 1 turn, whereas this can do a maximum of 3. And still know what I tried that a couple of times in fun games, and it was good when you got up to it. Yeah. But it did the 4 damage, and then that was it.
Let's keep cruising. This one's not worth it. Not worth. Yeah, exactly. You probably won before you needed it. So. Yep. Next one is Primarch of the Death Guard. I'm pretty sure that's Primarch. And it says, while Mortarion is active, prevent the first damage to you from each source each turn. And after digging around in other card rulings and card wordings, this is similar to Iron Golem in that it will only prevent the first point of damage dealt to you from each source each turn, not the entirety of the source. So if you took like 5, it would mean you would only take 4 instead of taking 0. So. Yep. Because of that, it's not worth running.
If you have time to get a 7 cost, get the Thor. That stops all damage.
Exactly. It's not worth running. It's a cool looking card. I guess we have that to say. It's really cool art, as are most of the cards in this set. And it's cool. If you like Mortarion from Warhammer 40k lore, then maybe you pop on the next one. The next one is Toxic Presence. Oh, did I give a rating for that? Oh, I didn't give a rating.
I gave it an F/D.
What did I give it? Yeah, I'm with you. Let's go F/D for that. Yeah, this is worse than the last one, I think. So I'll go F with you. The last one's kind of interesting. It creates an interesting board state. When Mortarion blocks, blocked character dice deal no combat damage this turn. So if you had some sort of a stalemate on the board, like everyone had 8 characters apiece and you had Mortarion as one of your 8, then he can't attack. Like your opponent just can't attack because you block with everything and your guys take nothing and theirs takes everything, and then you just win next turn. You know what I mean? So this one's a little bit more interesting to me because it does create sort of a stalemate, a la the Thor that you mentioned earlier, the uncommon Thor.
Yeah, actually, I didn't. Maybe I didn't give this enough credit as well. I was kind of in a F/D funk. Yeah, this is kind of similar to the Thors, right? It kind of shuts down your opponent.
Yeah.
My thing probably is that if you're facing off against a team that wants to build, win by attacking you,
they're probably going to beat you on the board, right?
They've probably beaten you already.
Yeah.
Right? In draft, this could be a real stalemate maker.
Yeah, exactly. In draft, it's probably worth grabbing as one of the back half picks, just because if you can get there and throw it on the team, you get there, then you probably just find a way to stalemate them down, fill up a bunch more stuff. I mean,
they just wouldn't attack, would they? I suppose.
No, they can't. Even if you have a slight disadvantage on the board, like they have 8 characters and you have 6. You let the 2 bottom go through, and you block all of the ones that you want to block, and whatever this is blocking, it's KOing.
Yeah.
Probably the case with some of those other things. Even if you would even trade, now it doesn't even trade. Your 4/4 lives, and their 4/4 dies. So it's pretty decent in draft. That's why I gave it a C. I think
there's just way too many combat tricks, aren't there? I guess is the thing.
That's true. You could pull it out.
Yeah, I mean, if this gets on the board and you're playing against, it's useless against like an infiltrate team or an unblockable Ant-Man team.
Yes, yeah, that's true. Against most constructed level teams, it's not really going to do much.
Team, it's super good.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Against a Bard team, it would have been really good.
If you could get to 7 against a Bard team.
If you could get to 7 and still be alive. I just want to give a quick shout out to this global. The pay shield, get +1 defense. I don't think we've seen this on a character before.
Really?
And this was kind of a fun thing to do with the Ant-Man that you could swap with attack and defense.
Oh yeah, that was a great one.
Yeah, it was a nice little combat, and +1 defense is always interesting,
Yeah,
little combat trick. So
no,
that's
it's in the set in two different cards. How interesting is that?
Characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I don't think it's been on. I mean,
heavy armor. It's on heavy armor. Now you made me interested. Now I want to go dig around. Take cover.
Because I remember I was building an Ant-Man team a little while ago that relied on the Ant-Man that swapped the attack and defense.
Bark skin.
Because I was using with the infiltrate. The infiltrate that.
Oh well, you know what? Technically, it is. It's on the Agent Venom card. Agent Venom pay 1 generic. Yeah. That you would use. That's true. It's there. So maybe not. I don't know.
No.
Let's move on.
In the modern. This is the only one in modern.
Yeah, that's true. It is the only one in modern. Next up, we have Noxious Blightbringer, Cursed Plague Bell. 3-drop, a mask character. 3/3 on top, so 3/3 for 3. While Noxious Blightbringer is active, deal 1 to your opponent each time they spend a question mark energy. which happens a lot more than most of us think, I guess, because you roll that fairly regularly, and you're keeping it every time.
Well, you wouldn't, would you? I suppose.
Not this time. Well, now you'd have to consider it, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, now you have to consider whether
this could be very pesky. I think
it is very pesky. I agree. It is pesky and annoying.
And could be a good thing to run. Yeah, it's a little bit like the Tabaxi Rogue, where
just keeps pinging you, right?
Yeah, probably not as effective as the Tabaxi Rogue because this is a lot more difficult to make them control. And I gave it a C just simply because we've seen kind of similar stuff that messes with a specific type of energy your opponents roll. Like the Black Cat, they have to re-roll the question marks.
Sure.
Or there's a Quasar, which lets you mess around with what energy you spend.
Yeah.
And that's never really been meta important.
And you don't really like search this card out like, oh, I need a way to punish my opponent for rolling question marks. But having 1 damage dealt to your opponent each time they spend that is a lot more interesting than, you know, not having. I don't know. It seems fine. You know what I mean? It seems fine. That's why I gave it. And it could be pretty good.
It could be cool.
So I would give it like a C+, just because it does deal a damage and it does happen more than you think. It's just not super attractive to just run out for and put that on every team you want. You know, it's not bad.
Yeah, I wouldn't fight you for it. Yeah, it's one of those things where, you know, you need a cheap mask character. This is probably one I pull out of the binder and be like, oh yeah, this could be an option, and then
and then maybe slip it back. Maybe slip it back in the binder.
Yeah.
I'd pick it up in draft. I would definitely pick it up in draft.
Definitely. Yeah. It's cool.
If we're sitting down for a draft, I would grab this.
It's annoying.
Yeah.
It would be annoying to play against.
It would. All right, what about Dolores Nell? While Noxious Blightbringer is active, deal 1 damage to your opponent each time they purchase an action die. How do you feel about that trigger versus the question mark trigger?
I feel it's similar. Again, the thing with these 2 cards is they're very opponent dependent.
True.
And this could be just by happenstance be super effective in the game you're playing, but trying to get that consistency, I don't see it as a viable option to burn your opponent to death.
No. See, for me, I'm the opposite. I think this one, for me, is a lot more like what you described a moment ago. I'm not interested in all. I don't think this has any very much impact in most games. If I'm playing against Yuan-Ti Pureblood, I'm dead. If I'm trying to go get this, because it's dealing somewhere between, in an average game, right? It's dealing somewhere between 0 and what? How many actions you buy a game? 3, 4 actions? You know,
the problem. I mean, the good thing about the
0 and 4 damage.
The good thing about it is that you can get out easily. It's the 3 cost, right?
Sure, you can get it out by turn 3.
So you can get it out, but most of the time, especially if they're running, like, you know, what actions are you gonna buy after turn 3? Maybe 1 team up to win.
Yeah, that's the thing. And so by the time you've actually gotten this out, this does next to nothing, because here it is turn 3, and if you're playing a game that's action based, it's most likely ramp action based, so they picked it up like turn 1, turn 2.
Turn 1, turn 2, yeah.
You know, and then so yay, you land it, and you deal 1 damage because it's investigation, they want to buy another one, or deal 2 damage because, you know, they bought 2 actions. But a 3-drop that you're buying once and you're getting 2 damage out of, your opponent's at 18 and you're at 20 and you spent 3. There's better ways to spend 3. So I really don't like this card. I think it's a D. Like, you could play it
because of the power of Attune Yuan-Ti super rare. It deserves a little bit higher than that. I gave it a C. C+, just because of that Attune Yuan-Ti team. And you're right, you're probably dead. But if you can do this alongside something else that stalls out Yuan-Ti, like a Shriek, then they have 2 levels and you chip away enough at them to maybe get that 1 big hit in.
Yeah, then they can't buy, 5 actions to deal 10 because all of a sudden they're taking 5.
Yeah.
And they lose if they buy that 5th.
Yeah.
Yeah, in that sense. I mean, it is only considerable based on the meta that we're in.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but also in draft, I feel like it's okay. Because you kind of end up in draft buying your basic actions later, just because
That's true. That's true.
you don't have the basic actions that kind of you really need.
It's sort of like, well, I've bought 13 characters,
Yeah, exactly,
so
right.
what's my
It's a sold out
14th
game.
purchase going to be? It's going to be
Yeah.
this thing. Maybe excessive ordnance helps. Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
I can see it
Right.
doing it, but you're right. It's only going to do, I'd say probably 1 to 5 damage at best, maybe.
Yeah.
Which is okay for a 3 cost, but not meta-worthy.
So, yeah, totally. And someone just mentioned that they liked that it's here, that it exists. And I do too, certainly. I like that they're considering, the purchasing of action dice to be something they should hate on. Totally, I get that. But it doesn't do enough, and maybe that's the reason I'm down on it, because I wish it did more. The next one is Toxin of Misery. Toxin spelled with a C and an S.
Yeah.
Which is cool. When fielded, deal damage to target player equal to the amount of energy in their reserve pool. Count energy symbols, not faces that show energy, which is, parenthetical text that still exists even though it's been around for a while. So I guess it's good that they're including parenthetical text. What do you think about that?
I would have been pretty hyped about this if it'd come out, 2 years ago.
Unfortunately.
It would have been super good. I mean, there's a Slash from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles which does this exact ability, but it's when KO'd when fielded instead of when fielded. And I used to love that card just as a kind of deterrent to PXG.
Yeah, it does.
PXG,
It
just
does
wait
hate
until
on
they
PXG,
save a
right?
bunch of stuff.
Yeah, which is fun.
There's just nothing in this modern meta that requires your opponent to have a bunch of energy.
Like, maybe you have PXG, the new school, but that means they're floating 1 energy. Or if you both bring it, then they're floating 2. So you get a nice little when fielded deal 2, which is kind of cool. But like you said, there's just no place for it right now. Now, maybe that changes with, this set releasing and the next set releasing, but as of right now, yeah, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, maybe with the Magic Missile and the reprint of the Too Cool for Words global, people are saving a bunch of bolts to, ping off your Scarlet Witch.
I could see that at a higher level, level discussion.
Or if, your opponent has saved a bunch of distraction globals.
To try and, because you're playing against like a hard control team, something like that.
Yeah. Or what's the one we just mentioned where you have to pay 1 to prevent them re-rolling your level 1, level 2 characters?
Oh, yeah, your favorite one. Well, not your favorite one, but the one you enjoy. Malignant Plague Caster, yeah. For those reasons, I'll bump it from a C- to a C. I could see those. I tell you what, it's way better in Golden Age than it is in Modern.
Golden Age, I give it a B just because how good this would be in Golden Age.
Yeah, if we're considering like Golden Age and all of these, I could see that. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Totally. All right, let's move on to a card that makes me happy. All 3 of these cards make me happy. The first one's Plague Marine, Festering Wound. Plague Marine is a 2-drop with 2 affiliations and a 2/2 on top, so the top side is crappy. But it's a 1/1 and a 2/1 and a 2/2, right? So not great stats for a 2-drop, but the abilities are super fun. Like this first one says, when a sidekick character die is KO'd, you may field a Plague Marine character die from your used pile or prep area at level 2. So if your sidekick gets KO'd, whether by you or by your opponent, then you get a 2/1. So your sidekick basically turns into from a 1/1 to a 2/1, and you ramp a die, which is pretty cool. I like that.
Does it need to be active?
Does what need to be active?
A Plague Marine.
No, you just you field it whenever it happens.
Are you sure?
No, I'm not sure. But they've printed something like this, right?
They have, but they generally say that Pepper Potts doesn't need to be active for this ability. I don't know if
that's true. They didn't put that sort of text on here. So if you do have to have one of these active before you can use said ability, I would knock it down a peg. But if you don't, I think it's a little bit more interesting. Now, I don't think this is super like really good, but it's fun. And you throw it on that 5-cost Lord of Contagion that pings, and you have something that's interesting. And it brings other affiliations into the field if you did want to slap it on a team-up team.
I think this would be kind of interesting, like as a 3-cost. If you could use it as a kind of nowhere, like a worse version of the Katana, Super Katana.
Exactly, yeah. Then you could nowhere this, or you could ping off a sidekick to bring this in.
2-cost, what do you want to swap out for a 3-cost?
Exactly, you don't go from 2 to 3. That's a good thought. Yeah. There's not a lot of good nowhere targets anymore. I gave this a C+.
Yeah, whatever you're doing to get rid of the sidekick, it's costing you the energy that you're making up by prepping that sidekick, but you're not drawing the Plague Marine because it's in the field already.
Even if you just push with said sidekick or a couple of sidekicks and one of them gets KO'd, then you just pull on that Plague Marine. It's kind of interesting.
It's okay. Yeah, if I had Swarm, I think it would be...
Oh, wow. That would be cool.
Good, right? That would be really cool.
That would be really cool. It'd be really, really cool.
I think this is a D for me. If I need... There's lots of good 2-cost fists at the moment.
Yeah. Speaking of, let's keep going. When Plague Marine attacks, you may KO a sidekick character die, and if you do, Plague Marine deals 1 damage to the KO'd character die's controller. So it's a may ability, meaning you don't have to trigger it if you don't want to. So if your opponent doesn't have sidekicks, then you just have a standard old 2-drop, 2/2. So it's pretty bad. But if your opponent does field any sidekick ever, then you have a 2-drop that deals 1 damage to your opponent and removes a blocker before blockers are assigned, which is really good. That's like a poor man's. That's like a poor man's Black Widow.
Yeah.
Look at that, right? Come on, isn't that good?
If your opponent fields a sidekick, yep.
Any sidekick ever, and you have one of these. If your opponent,
they're just gonna let the one attack through, aren't they? And then you just have to churn it again.
Yeah, sure. But you've KO'd 2 of their sidekicks, and you've dealt them 2 damage, and then you dealt them 1 damage from the Plague Marine, and the other damage from the other Plague Marine. That's a pretty nice little swing, sure.
I'm not, no. It's okay.
I think it's cool. I give it a B.
But there's just like better. Like there's a Black Widow that when attacks just deal 1 damage. If your opponent has the higher level, it doesn't have this.
Would you play this in draft?
Yeah, probably.
In a heartbeat, right?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Well, it depends which of these Plague Marines I got.
Sure, if you see the 3rd one, then yeah, you take that one. But I mean, this one, I would gladly pick that up in a draft because that's aggro right there, man.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
And then you combine it with some other thematic things that are involved with the Plague Marine affiliation.
Which had a better stat line though.
Yeah, no, if it was like a 2/3 or a 3/2, that would be sick. But you live and you learn, right?
Yeah, 3/2 would have been nice.
3/2 would have been awesome.
If they gave it like Black Widow stats, because she always has insane stats.
Yeah, she does. Okay, let's talk about Vectors of Death and Disease, which is a card we both enjoy. While Plague Marine is active, your sidekick character dice gain +1/+1 and are KO'd at the end of your turn. Yes.
I don't know why I like this card so much. I just think this card is super fun.
All right, it is. I will tell you right now. I've already played with it, and it is super fun. It is super fun. You buy it 1/2 drop, and all of your sidekicks now become 2/2s.
That's super good. I mean, that is just straight up super good. So they tried to mitigate it, right, by having
it KO. But who cares, man?
I don't care because I just get a bunch of dice to roll next turn. Right?
Yeah, and then maybe you don't have as many sidekicks as before because you didn't roll half of them, but you just fix one to a sidekick again, and just keep going with a bunch of 2/2s. Like this is a great card that you just slap onto a semi-casual, semi-competitive team as like a secondary win con. It's a 2-drop.
Yep.
You don't have to do anything for that. You can sneeze and get 2 energy, and then just buy this, and there you go. Like that's awesome.
It's interesting with that, like, cause it's kind of like interesting card with Professor X as well, global. Like you just on your opponent's turn, you field a sidekick. It's gonna get KO'd, so you roll it next turn.
Well, no, because it says at the end of your turn. Or KO'd at the end of your turn, so it doesn't trigger on the other end. Yeah.
Your turn, not the turn. Damn.
It would be super cool. But it's still super cool. It's still a super cool card. I like this card a lot.
+1/+1 to sidekicks is very powerful.
Plus it can fit onto just like a lot of different little spammy teams. So
yeah, you just get your sidekicks get +2, +1/+1.
Yeah.
And attack with them.
Super
What's
cool.
your opponent going to do? They're going to get KO'd anyway, so you should block.
Yeah. It's super cool. Well, moving on to some other spammy stuff, we have all the Poxwalkers. Poxwalker, Curse of the Walking Pox is a 1-drop fist. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. What was your rating? What was your rating for that last one? I gave it a B+. Because
I gave it a C because I gave it a C brackets B+.
There you go.
C is probably like realistically what it's going to come out
exactly, but your heart of hearts says what?
It's super fun. I'm running that. It's like the card. It's like the Ant-Man. Like I'm just hyped about it. It's the first card I'm going to build around.
You just pull it out of the box, throw everything else to the side, grab the couple of dice that come with it, and just slap it down. Because that thing is fun. Anyway, sorry. Poxwalker, 1-drop fist character, blank text. You got a 1/2 on top you got to pay for, but the other ones are 1/1 and a 1/2 for free. It's a fist maker. It's a 1-drop fist character that you can use with that 5-drop Lord of Contagion.
It's got 2 affiliations for team up.
It's got 2 affiliations. Other than that, it's just like...
Not got horrendous
I'd pick it up
for 1-drop.
I'd pick it up in like a draft or something, and it would be like, meh. I'm changing my... I have it C+, but it's not C+. That's just a C. Like...
Do you know what it is? It's because Lantern Ring isn't a thing anymore, right?
They can print stuff like this now.
Yeah.
They can print...
I mean, they already got Morphing Jar, which is just
gold
so much better
and
than
age
this,
and gold. Yeah, that's true. That's true. As a second thing, you could pick it up as a second thing in the Lantern Ring team in Golden Age.
Yeah, but it shows you how important stats are, right? Because that Morphing Jar was like
it was a 4/3.
Yeah.
It was a 1/4/3 on top.
It was an A straight up. And then this is kind of like, you know, maybe a C.
Yeah.
I was harsh on it. It's just because it's ugly. I gave it a D.
It is kind of like, there's nothing to look at there.
It's like an elephant on the dice.
It does. The die is terrible.
Looks
the
like
die
an
is
elephant.
so bad. I just picture the elephant too. Yeah. All right. The next one, 2-drop with Swarm. So 2-drop Swarm characters aren't bad.
No,
they're not bad. Poxwalker gets +1 attack for each other Poxwalker character die in the field zone, counting both players. Very, very similar to, and you mentioned this in the thing that we were working on before this. It's very similar to Batiri Battle Stack.
And Batiri has better stats.
It does have better stats, yep. Less affiliations, but that doesn't generally matter. Batiri Battle Stack has a good card. Like if we were doing a rating of that set, that card would be like a solid B, maybe B+. That card's good. Yeah. This card is not as good, but it is still pretty good. Having, I mean, you just throw this on, like I said, a spammy team, along with one of those Plague Marines and Lord of Contagion and some way to buff some of things. Like, this is already getting, like, pretty decently buffed.
Yeah, you put it on, like, a common Hulk team.
Oh, yeah,
where your fist can, you know, pump and then get all of them out. Gets good pump. Yeah, I gave it a C just because the Batiri is better, straight up.
It is straight up better.
I would give Batiri a B. So I give this a C.
Unless you wanted to put some of those things around it, like some affiliated characters around it. That could do some things. I don't know, maybe you bust out the old school teamwork and just throw a bunch of things on there.
Yeah, it's okay. Swarm's always good.
2-drop Swarm,
trigger, but it's always good.
Yeah, definitely.
Ooh, how many max is this? Oh no, it's not one of those max
4.
5.
That would be sick. That would be sick. Poxwalker. Oh, go ahead.
Some of them are max 5, aren't they? And the new stuff.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think any in the box. None in the box.
No.
Just in the team packs. Poxwalker Mindless. 2-drop Swarm again. This time it is unblockable when attacking alone. And I believe that means the die. So if one Poxwalker die attacks alone.
I think that's what they ruled Wolverine as.
Yeah. So because of that, this card is meh to me. I mean, it's 2-drop Swarm, but I would run the other one because it's 2-drop Swarm.
I gave it a C because I can't remember the last time. I don't know if there is an unblockable 2-cost.
Yeah, over in original Battle for Faerun, the Flying Sturge.
Wasn't that a 3-cost?
No, the 2-drop uncommon was only able to be blocked by adventurers, and that's basically unblockable. Okay. Because no one's running adventurers ever. That card was yeah. Sometimes. That card, Bard was literally, Bard was the one. And Dewiz, that's true. But nowadays, it makes a lot more sense. So, yes, this unblockable when attacking alone is kind of interesting.
So, one of my favorite cards is Splinter's Teachings, the global. And this just to me is like, yeah, let's just put this on a team with Splinter's Teachings.
Yeah, I could see that.
And steal your big stuff.
This plus Splinter's Teachings plus push with 1 die means bad things for your opponent.
Yeah, right. Like you just have a Wonder Woman so your characters can't be affected by globals. steal whatever stat they have.
That seems fun. I like that. Looks like the stream's getting a little low on the streaming health, but who cares? We'll just keep going.
No.
They're probably with us. Someone out there will tell me if they're bad, if it's too bad. Because we'll move on to Primaris Aggressor. Oh, actually, did you give a rating for this one for Mindless? I'm dropping the ball on asking about the ratings.
What did I give this? I gave this a C, but I think I'm gonna mess around with this. This could be fun. This would probably be higher personally for me.
I gave this a B-, which is strange because I talked it down just a moment ago. But
yeah,
I mean, still pretty good. Still pretty good card.
I can see. I think this is fun. Unblockable is good. I like
Unblockable is good. What's not good? That's not a good way to lead in. Maybe this card is good. I don't know. Primaris Aggressor 4-drop Fist with double affiliations. A 2/5/5 on top. Boltstorm Gauntlets says while Primaris Aggressor is active, when an opposing character die attacks, deal 1 damage to it. And then it's got the double fist global that says once per turn, all character dice, everything gets +1 attack. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's I think this is pretty good. The global's really good, right? That's the star.
The global is kind of good, yeah. Giving everything +1 is generally okay if you're using it on the right team because you're mainly giving your stuff +1, right?
Yes.
You have some way to deal with it.
This is a good defense against the global because they can't just pump a bunch of their sidekicks, right? Because they're all going to die when they attack.
That's true. Yeah.
So I like that kind of like control aspect of it.
I don't think it goes control-y enough. I think that's my biggest issue when looking at it.
I can see that. It's got good stats for a 4 cost. I don't know. I just...
Oh, okay. Chat, Zach Pope just said, can you give this to your opponent while you have Common Hulk? That would be hilarious.
Well, there is a Loki, which I think on the last kind of stream we had when we reviewed stuff, I said there was a thing that's going to happen with that Loki that's going to make this card super good, and maybe this is it. So now you're getting a bunch of stuff out, but...
So now you just need to buy a 6-drop, a 5-drop, and a 4-drop. But once you've done that, then you've got the nuts, and you just go for it.
I'm telling you.
That's the combo.
I think this is good. I think this is good. It's good defense. It's not great defense. But this is the best version with the global.
It's good in semi-competitive. Well, it's good in casual, I think. It's good in casual. It's like, okay, you could probably use it in some sort of semi-competitive stuff. The global makes it a lot more playable. I will say that. I'll agree with you on that. Especially because... Go ahead.
It stops a bunch of... I mean, it stops like the Ant-Man attacking for 3 damage because they die. It stops Yanti unblockable.
That's the thing. For me, it stops Yanti and it stops, like, I guess Ant-Man. It stops a couple of different things. What did I mention? I'm trying to figure out what I mentioned. Yeah, I said it was absolutely terrible when up against a Hulk, Common Hulk team, which is hilarious because that's what everyone just said too.
That is true. I hadn't thought of that. Yes, that would be terrible.
It would be so bad. Yeah, I mean, like some of the inset stuff, it just straight up kills too. Like the Poxwalker that we talked about and those Plague Marines. So it kills some stuff in set, which is nice. I guess for that reason, I should value it a little higher than I did. I gave it a C, so I could bump it up to like a C+, B-.
And in set, it gives basically all your opponent's range characters -1 attack, right?
In what way?
-1 defense, sorry. Because whatever they're attacking with that has range, although you can just attack with 1 character, can't you?
Yes, you can.
But you're doing 1 damage to whatever they're attacking with.
Correct.
Before the range triggers.
Let's see what would when it attacks. Declare attackers range triggers, then this, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
but you're pinging them back.
Yeah, you ping them. Yeah, definitely, and you don't have to run range.
And you have to ping less. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to invest less. This is an interesting card. Interesting card. So what did you give it?
I think that global is super good. B.
B. All right. Let's keep
just for the global alone bumped it up. I think the ability on the die would probably be a C.
Yeah. But the global makes it a lot more impactful, certainly.
Again, with something like the 1-cost Poxwalker, where you're getting a bunch of fists anyway.
Yeah. And you want to field a bunch of stuff. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh no, the stream dropped. Something's going on at Internet Day right now. I don't know what's going on. We'll see. I think we're back, but we'll find out in just a moment how back we are. And then we'll talk about the next one, Firestorm. Certainly. Let's see. Let's see how bad it's dropped.
1-cost Poxwalker.
Oh no, I don't know.
Fists anyway.
Seems like we're okay. We'll keep on chugging. Uh-oh. Cool. Next up is this Primaris Aggressor Firestorm that just straight up has frag. It's got the same ability global-wise that the other one did. But I think we both talked about frag already. Frag is not very good. In general, frag is just kind of bad. So...
And it has same global, which is good. Crapper ability.
Yeah, worse ability. So I gave this one lower. I think I gave this a D.
Yeah, I gave this a D as well.
Yep, I gave this a D. Good for the global only is what I typed. And that is the case. All right, last one is Relentless Advance. This one has range 1 built in, and it says, while Primaris Aggressor is active, when an opposing character die is KO'd by range, prep a die from your bag. Prep a die from your bag. How do you feel about the range as ramp mechanic built into this?
Yeah, I think this is good.
This card is good.
That's straight. I gave this a C+. Makes you want to build a range team, and I guess it depends on how much you value range.
It does make you want to build range, yeah.
I value it slightly lower, but I could see why you might bump this up to a B. Stuff that brings a team together is always very interesting, and I'm glad this card exists.
Yeah, me too.
Inset ramp is always useful, and I think this is something you want to be looking out for in draft.
Definitely. Yeah, I gave this a B-, and mainly because I've tried this out both with a couple of range characters built into the team and with the really amazing Venerable Dreadnought that gives all of your stuff range. And both ways it provides some ramp. And so just the idea of prepping with range by KOing your opponent's sidekicks, or even just like a low drop that has low defensive stats. In set, this is really easy to do. Using range to do that and then prepping dice all before blockers are declared. You're pulling stuff out of their field. You're prepping dice for next turn, and then you're free to push with a character advantage. It's just really, really good. It does, like you said, rounds that team around.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue from my end, why I gave it a C rather than B, is the trigger timing makes prepping die from your bag more difficult. It's not like, because everything you spent this turn is in out of play, so you might not get the full effects out of it. With stuff like this, I found
that's a good point. Certainly,
from like the new Guardian kind of ramp stuff, where you don't really have as many dice to prep as you want to.
Yeah, you've spent all of your energy and there's nothing in your bag, and you're used,
waves,
and so
right?
it's No, I get that definitely, and I totally experienced that playing this card at one point, but that was also because I was running it with Dreadnought and I KO'd like 5 things. So I prepped like
super good.
I prepped like 3 dice, and I'm like, I didn't get to prep 5, but 3 dice is still pretty good. And then you kill your opponent, then it didn't matter. So, but it's still really good. So.
Yeah, I think it's worth playing around with. And if range is going to be a thing, this is going to be the cornerstone of that team.
Yeah, I don't know if range itself just becomes meta-defining as a keyword, but I do think that if you can build ramp into it, a la Infiltrate, like Ricochet with Infiltrate, if you can build ramp into something, it becomes something to look at, even on a semi-competitive team. Like I would take an Infiltrate team to like a fun little tournament and try to do really well with it. And that's the same thing with this card. It's a 4-drop versus a 3-drop, but same exact thing.
Just imagine range had been around if Cosmic Cube was still legal.
Oh my god. Oh my god. No, I've literally not pictured that before, and now I wish I had. That's terrible.
Woo.
Oh my god. No. Okay, we're moving on. We're moving on to Primaris Inceptor. And we're going to start cruising a little faster because looking at the rest of these cards, some of them are pretty interesting, but we're just going to cruise because we've already been an hour and a half in. So, Primaris Inceptor. It's a vanilla 2-drop, 3/3. Like, I'd pick it up in draft only, and it's good for team up maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, team up. That's why I wrote. I gave it an F. I just didn't care.
Team up 2-drop. For exactly team up teams, I gave it a C-.
Yeah.
And I guess I'd pick up like a blank text and draft and try to do something with it. 3/3, whatever, 3/3. Moving on. Primaris Inceptor, 3-drop, Mark X Gravis Power Armor. When Primaris Inceptor deals combat damage to an opponent, prep a die from your bag. So it has to go through unblock or deal some damage, like with, I don't know, Overcrush or something like that. Overcrush on your 3-drop. Woo! Here it comes.
Yeah, there's a Kree soldier that was better, that kind of did the same thing, and was cheaper.
Yeah, 3-drop for a blank text ability if it doesn't go through. I'm going to change mine. I used to have a C-, but I'm giving it a D because it doesn't have the impact. There's better out there, like you said.
Yep.
That's the epitome of the D. Anyway, moving on to Primaris Inceptor Meteoric Descent, the 3-drop that started off the spoilers for this set way back in the day.
That is true.
Where it all started. Range 1 built into this. And you've talked a little bit about how you feel about range.
Yeah, I gave this an F/D.
Oh.
I know. I don't really care. 3 costs? No, I want it on 2 costs.
I will say this. If you're not playing Dreadnought because of whatever reason, and you're trying to go range only baked onto the characters, and you wanted to build like a Space Marines team, this is definitely going onto it. I mean, even if it's just like you're not even really range focused, and you're building a Space Marines team, this is definitely going onto it. And so for that reason, I gave it a C+.
That's why I gave it the D. Just because of, if you're building a Space Marines team, this is on it, probably.
And there are some interesting
Space Marines team.
Well, there's some interesting, like, if you're thinking fun thematic, or if you love, Warhammer lore or that sort of thing, there are some interesting enough pieces to put onto a Space Marines team that make you kind of want to. And you could bake on the I keep using that term, I don't care though. You could slap on the aggressor for the ramp possibility with like these dice, as well as the other range Space Marine characters. So I could see it. I give it a C+. I think it's a little bit better than like average. So 2-drop Primaris Intercessor, and they shall know no fear. When fielded, if you control another Space Marine character die, Primaris Intercessor gains 1 attack. 1 attack.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay.
It's a 4/2 on top. Let's note that it's a 2-drop 4/2.
Wow.
You got to pay 2 to field it, unless you use a card coming up. In which case, you're paying 2.
It's good stats. It's okay. I don't the +1 is neither here nor there. It's good stats regardless. It's cheap. It's okay.
I don't know why I put C+ on mine. This is not a C+. This is like a C. Like it's average. It's a 2-drop with 4/2, so in draft, like I would pick it up for that. And then it could be a 5/2.
The Boom Boom has the similar stats.
A 1/2/2/2 and a 4/2, right?
Yeah.
And this one's a 2/2 3/2 and 4/2.
Which is straight up worse, but that 2 fielding costs for a 2 cost.
Yeah. You need something to lower it, don't you?
You do.
Yeah, you need something to lower it. Moving on. Primaris Intercessor, favorite of Gulliman. Is it Gulliman? Gulliman?
I have no idea.
I don't either. Gulliman? I think I looked it up one time, and I didn't like the way the guy pronounced it, and so I kept pronouncing it. I'm going to go with Gulliman.
Cool. I like it.
While Primaris Intercessor is active, your Space Marine character dice cost 1 less to field. Wow, this one's way better. Let's just play this one all the time.
Yep.
100%.
Yeah, it would be good if you could put that one with the +1 attack on.
Yeah.
With this card.
Let's just combine the abilities and make a good card. This card, I'd say, is like a C+, almost B-, because if you're playing a Space Marines team, this is always on it, because Space Marines always cost 1 to 2 to field.
I'm just not sold on Space Marines, so I gave it a C. But yeah, I can see that. Cards like this are always good. That Nick Fury, the Made Avengers, 1 cheaper to field.
Yeah.
Super good.
It's a casual team, certainly. I'm not going to try and tell people to slap this together and bring it to like literally any, mid-level competition. But if you do want to build a Space Marines team, this is definitely going on it, and it will do some work. So C+, and almost B- because of that exact reason. It's sort of like a build-around card. Staple for that casual team. And finally, you have Versatile, which has Frag. This one, okay, so Frag is kind of bad, right? Frag's kind of bad. We can agree. Frag is generally bad.
Well, we need to try it, but yes.
Sure. This one is the least bad in my opinion. And the reason is this. You can get multiple of these in the field, multiple of these attacking, and then multiple frag triggers, therefore dealing like 2 damage or 3 damage if this can KO something. And if this doesn't KO something, then they either have stuff that's in the field that's really strong, or they took 6 damage because they let 2 Primaris Intercessors through. And so all of a sudden Frag becomes better on low drops with multiple possible triggers.
I see it. I just don't want to pay 2 fielding for something that I'm throwing at my opponent all the time.
Very good point. Yeah, that's a very good point.
But yes, if Frag is going to work, this is going to be a card that makes it work, right?
Yeah, I am cheering on only this card, and therefore I gave it a C+, but it's probably more like a C-, just because you have this, well, maybe not C-, because it's still a 2-drop, and 2-drops are really good in Dice Masters.
Well, I give it a D.
So,
so I'm just being mean to Space Marines.
Maybe. But Frag is very underwhelming to look at when you look at it and kind of play it like one character.
It might be
Frag.
better.
Maybe if you stack up a lot of Frag characters, I don't know.
It might be better than we think it is, but
might it?
Might be.
Might it? Okay.
Again, clearing fields is always a useful thing.
Yeah. After the blockers are assigned.
But it's a weird timing. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Next up, Primaris Redemptor Dreadnought. Bone Crusher, 5-drop, double affiliated. 5/7 on top. Got to pay 2 to get it out there. When it is KO'd, deal damage equal to its level to target opponent. This thing's not getting KO'd. Unless you're KOing it with some effect. It's a 4 defense, 6 defense, and 7 defense for 5. You're buying one of these. It's never getting KO'd. And so it's a 5/7 blank text. Unless I'm seeing something, or you're seeing something.
You weren't playing draft. You could do when KO deal 1, 2, or 3 damage is good, not great. Definitely not in draft.
No, this is no. I don't know why I put C-. Maybe I was being too forgiving. This is totally a D, and possibly pushing F to mine now. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Nah, there's stuff where like doubling it with absorbing man if it's on level 3, 6 damage if you KO it. It's a lot, probably not worth it, but
yeah. For that reason, I guess you could put it on D because there are things that do it better, but it's playable in that sense. Yeah, sure. D. What do you say? D?
Yeah, D. Yeah.
Okay. The next one's Engine of War, and if the ability looks similar, then it is. When Primaris Redemptor Dreadnought is blocked, deal damage equal to its level to target opponent. If you do, KO it at the end of the turn.
I like this better. It's guaranteed damage in draft, which is good. It's probably the most damage output we've seen for a draft card in this set.
This one makes your brain go, wait, but what? At least it does for mine. It's like so this one you get the May ability and you choose to KO it. So your opponent's most likely always blocked. Well, I guess on 3 it's not being blocked. You have a 5-drop 3/4 that doesn't usually get blocked,
but then that's only doing 1 damage if they do block it, right? So they maybe toss it up. So it's a choice for them.
That's true, and it KOs, yeah. This is what did you put? You put a D as well?
I put D. I don't mind the stats. I like the ability because it's damage output. I think I would take this maybe 5th or 6th in a draft.
Yeah.
Maybe even higher, just because it's a way to win the game.
That's true. It is a strange win condition, isn't it?
It's damage.
That's not cool. And it's back, but it's not back. And it's back. I don't know. It's back. We'll just kind of throw it up there. We'll kind of hope that it comes back any minute now. Says I have some connection. I'll just keep waiting for someone to tell me in chat if it's dead or not. I think we're back. Talking about Hail of Fire. So because it KOs automatically, it's kind of interesting. You can pay to have it not KO, but maybe the KO thing isn't necessarily a drawback. Maybe it's a benefit because you're not having to do anything for it to KO itself. And so
this would be cool if there was retaliation with the Space Marines, right?
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
When I was talking about retaliation earlier, this was the card I was thinking of. But I can't think of any good cards that trigger when your character's KO.
Yeah. Right now, there's not. I looked because I wanted to know if this was even possible. And it's unfortunate, but there's just not.
So currently, I just gave it an F. I'm not buying this. I'm not fielding it. Never using it.
I graded it off of the hope that something gets printed later. Later. So because of that, I gave it like a C, and I said to myself, if anything gets printed that says do this if your dice get KO'd, something like that, then this card is an immediate slot in because it does it for itself.
I know, but I'd rather just use it as a 2-cost Cosmo when fielded, KO it to prevent damage to your Guardians, right?
Yeah, I guess you could do that too because it's 2 cost.
I just rather do that.
Well, that's a good point. That's a very good point. This card's bad. Moving on. On to the Primaris Reaver. Lightning Assault. Want to read that for me?
Yeah, so it has a range 1, 3-cost bolt, which is good. Cheap.
Oh, look at that 2/3/3 side. Doesn't that get you excited and happy?
Yeah. What did I give this? Yeah, yeah, it's okay. Who cares?
Yeah, it's okay. Is interesting.
It's just difficult to know, never having played range. I mean, you're the one who's played around with the range a bit.
Yeah, I think range is definitely one of those keywords that's great in like casual, semi-competitive kind of things. You know, where you're not up against the best 8 cards in Dice Masters formats ever. Then range is really good because it does mess with the board. It is a combat trick, and it's a pretty decent one, especially if you have more range characters. So a 3-drop.
I think that Venerable Dreadnought is where it's at, right?
Yes, it is. It is definitely where it's at. So a 3-drop that can give you multiple range triggers because this triggers per die. Range triggers, you'll deal damage with each of the dice that has range. Is good enough. That makes this worth kind of scooping up and draft or putting onto a Space Marines team and running it alongside of the range as ramp maker.
Ugly fielding costs, though.
Definitely ugly fielding costs. So you scoop up the Intercessor for that same team and put all 3 of those together. The 2 range, 3 drops, and the Intercessor and the Aggressor for the ramp. And you've got a backbone of something that's pretty casual, pretty fun, pretty chill, that can win some games. You know, like it's not going to win every game, but it does enough.
I think people are going to mess with range, right? So that probably makes it better than D.
Yeah, it's a C+ in my mind. It's like right on the edge of just being a little bit better than casual, just range in general, and this is a provider of range. But again, when more people play it, then it becomes more apparent whether or not that actually works.
Yep.
All right, moving on. What's the next one? The next one is
Master of Terror.
Master of Terror. You want to hit that one as well?
Yeah, well, Primaris Reaver attacks, if the defending player has more, you deal 1 damage to that player.
Yeah. There it is.
Some aggro.
It's kind of interesting. It's a 3-drop. If this were on a 2-drop, it'd be a lot more interesting. It's one of those things where you could play a fun game where if you're struggling and you're losing, you attack with like 3 of these, and then all of a sudden you're back to pace, which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
but
it'd be interesting.
You'd have to buy a lot of them.
Do you think they all trigger when attacks? So that if your opponent just has more life than you when you attack, they're all going to trigger no matter what? Or do you do it one at a time?
Yeah, because when you declare attackers simultaneously, and all when attacks abilities go in to the queue at the same time, so they would all trigger based off of the moment you push all of them forward.
So that could be good. There's ways to manipulate it so you have less life than your opponent.
Yeah, you could do something with that.
Ways, but...
Take some damage here and there that your opponent may not have been expecting you to take, just to use the ability, I guess. But you then kind of catch yourself up. Plus, you take some extra damage. It means they have extra blockers that they may not have expected to have, or less blockers than they may have expected to have more. You know, so it's interesting, but it's not great.
And maybe this is one you want to keep alive with that -3 attack I was talking about earlier. The thing that gives your opponent's characters -3 attack, because then this might stay alive and you don't have to pay the horrible fielding cost again.
Yeah, pay the horrible fielding cost is the right way to say it, because again, it's pretty bad. A 1/2/2 and a 2/3/3 is pretty bad. I think I have this as a C, and it floats around C, C- in my mind. I go back and forth. A lot of these cards I'll go back and forth between like 1/2 point grade, you know.
Yeah, I gave this a D+.
Yeah. Last Primaris Reaver is the most interesting to me. It's a 2-drop version, which makes a lot more sense with that stat line. Then it says, when Primaris Reaver is KO'd, deal 2 damage divided as you choose to any number of opposing character dice. So this one's easy to get KO'd generally, because it's a 1, 2, or 3 on bottom. And then once you do that, you kind of get to spread around the damage additionally. So it's KOing whatever it's getting blocked by. Or it's dealing 1, 2, 3, or 3, excuse me. It's getting KO'd and it's dealing 2, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's okay.
Good for a 2-drop, right?
This the fielding costs are what puts me off. All of these really. I think I gave this a D as well, just because of the field. I don't want to KO this die because I don't want to pay 2.
Yeah. At least you get 2 pings out of it, even if you do KO.
Yeah, and I think there's a kind of, you can guarantee that it's always on level 1. This becomes way better, right? Because then you can just pay 1 bolt to KO it to deal 2 damage instead of. So you ping it with Magic Missile.
No, sure, yeah.
Your usefulness of Magic Missile.
And it just also makes sense to push with this, you know, constantly push, and then the opponent's either taking 3 or, you know, you're wiping something off their board and then wiping 2 extra sidekicks or something like that, which gives them some ramp, but it's aggro. You know, it's aggro.
This might be a good fit with that rare Polaris where you can, you know,
bring it back. That's a good idea.
On level 1. That's kind of cool.
That's a really good idea, yeah. That makes it a little bit more interesting and playable. And then, I gave this a C+.
With just Zorby Man, you're doubling the damage, so...
dealing 4 per die. Fabricate them out, bring them back, pay 2, deal 8.
What I like about it is you can do it on your opponent's turn, right?
That's true. Yeah, it's not when it attacks and is KO'd or something like that.
Yep.
No, I like that. There's enough there that I stand by that C+ rating, I think, especially because you just mentioned a bunch of interesting things.
C+. Yeah.
I like it. Okay, on to some cards that I don't really like. Primaris Repulsor, 6-cost bolt character. It's got an 8/8 on top, a 6/6 and a 5/5. Even 5/5 for a 6-drop isn't bad. It's got frag, and then it says when Primaris Repulsor attacks, at least 1 character die must be assigned to block it. So it's a guaranteed frag. But frag on a 6-drop is just not impactful enough by itself.
I agree.
And so even though you can guarantee frag, it's just like, okay, there it is. You know, it's...
Yep.
Woohoo! So we both gave it C's, if you don't mind me spoiling it. I'm thinking I'm going to drop it a little bit because...
I like the fact that you're forcing stuff to block. I like messing with your opponents.
If it said target character die, you choose.
Yes, that would be much better.
That would be spicy, but your opponent can pick what they want to block with it. So block with a sidekick.
4 or 6 is probably never going to get it played.
No.
But...
Which is, I guess, why we shouldn't have it as a C. But it's one of those things that...
If you just attack, there's stuff you can do with knowing your opponent's going to block, right? There's like Overcrush with Cone of Cold.
And there lies the reason that you're forcing it to block. Makes it a little bit more worth the C rating. Because you can play... And I think that I did put that down, did I not? I can't remember on this one. No, I didn't write on this one.
No.
But it was in the thought, especially for the next couple. I think there's one other one that is good with that. You play Raised Shields, right? Because Raised Shields is pretty decent, especially for giving Overcrush. And then you just profit because you're guaranteed this is blocked. And an 8/8 is pretty good. And then the added benefit, maybe just looking at frag as the benefit is not good enough. It's just like you're benefiting 8/8 with which will always be blocked.
Yeah, and that frag is just like a nice little bonus thing.
Yeah, that's a better way to look at it.
C may be generous, but
yeah,
I've been pretty negative on the old Space Marines, so let's be nice about Holotank.
There you go. All right, moving on. Even though the stream is restarting itself, man, it's such a bummer. I don't know why it's going down. It's the benefit or the drawbacks of living close to others. All of a sudden, 6-drop Crackstorm grenade launcher. This one has a wall of text, so you've got the frag stuff. And then it says, while Primaris Repulsor is attacking, after blockers are declared, if Primaris Repulsor is unblocked for any reason, your character dice get +2 attack until the end of the turn. So why in the world is this ever not being blocked?
You make it unblockable.
That's the only thing, right? You make it unblockable.
Yep.
So you go wide, give this unblockable, and then just kind of hope that the +2 attack also matters somewhere along the way. I don't know. It doesn't seem very...
No, but +2 is super strong.
+2 is super strong. If you gave... I mean, you give... I don't know. How do you give something... two things unblockable? Or maybe like one thing unblockable, this unblockable, and the other thing's overcrush. That's a lot of setup.
You clear the field, then attack with it, and then your psychic suddenly do enough damage.
Yeah, then you win, right? And you just win. Yeah. Clear the field. Maybe that's it. Yeah, that's got to be it. You just clear the field. Put this on a clear the field team. Somehow buy it for 6, and then just have like a couple of things in the field that get like real swole. Club. Ooh, Hellfire Club. Right? There you go. That's a good one. And then it's unblocked.
Yeah, you field a couple of things. Then you don't have to have your characters in the field because you just fielded the 2 other psychics you need, or however many.
So let's see. How much would you need in the field? If you had 3 sidekicks, this is dealing...
So say he's top level. He's 8.
8, right. 9, 10, 11, 2, 4, 6. That's 17. That's not enough. One more sidekick. You need 4 sidekicks. So you need 4 sidekicks and 1 level 3 Primaris Repulsor. And that's kind of doable.
With instant war, but then you're giving your opponent
with instant sidekicks. Oh, no, yeah, you're right. With...
I don't know. some way.
We're trying too hard here. We're trying too hard. We should just keep moving. This is like a... Where did we put it? You put it... What? Crackstorm? I gave it a C-.
I gave it a C just because +2 is very strong.
And that's a good reason. That's a really good reason. I'm with you. That's a good reason. Primaris Repulsor, Power of the Machine Spirit. Range 2. This card's bad. Let's keep moving.
Yep.
This card, range on a high drop character is just bad. We can all... It's just not worth it. Yep. Ooh, Golden Age, Batcave plus Hellfire Club. That last one does it. It's pretty good.
Yes, that would be good.
That would be really good. Now you just got to buy 2 4-drop actions.
Golden Age Batcave with thing is pretty good anyway.
Yeah, most things.
Hellfire Club. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're moving on to Reboot Gullyman. How did I say I was going to say it?
Gullyman.
Yeah, we'll go with it.
Gullyman. Yeah.
7-drop, author of the Codex, double affiliated. A 6, I think it's a 6/9 on top. I think so.
He is a 6/9, I feel like.
This version has Impulse when purchased. If you control at least 2 active Space Marine character dice, prep it. And then it's got the shield. Pay a shield. The first character die you field this turn is free to field. So basically, the first character die you field this turn cost 1 shield.
Global's good.
Global is good. The rest of it is bad because you're paying a 7-drop. So your 7-drop, it needs to be really impactful. And the impact is that 1, you need 2 other Space Marine character dice, and then 2, this preps. This card's bad.
Yep. Yeah, you probably lost if you buy this.
Yeah, it's D for the global, but everything else is bad. Well, maybe it's not D for the global. It's like for the global, it's like the global could be okay, maybe like C could playable
maybe,
for the global, but D kind of as well. Make something 1. Yep. Hey, this global makes all of those Space Marines 1 shield to field.
It's true.
Maybe that's worth it. I don't know. The other one, this one's a 6-drop version, Master of Battle. This one
is worse.
The 6-drop Master of Battle?
Oh no, sorry, that one. Okay, no.
Yeah. I was gonna say that would be crazy.
This one's okay.
While it's active, your other Space Marine character dice get +, and sidekick character dice get +1/+1.
That sidekick part is important.
Yes. That sidekick part is very important because it makes it playable outside of this set.
6 cost though. I don't know if you ever do it really.
No, it's not super exciting. What if you put this on a team with the really cool Plague Marine that gives +1/+1 and a bunch of Space Marines?
Yeah, then you're playing very casually.
Yeah, then you're playing very casually. Cool. It's exactly right. I gave it a C+ just because it is both in set and out of set, and it's a 6-drop with a fine stat line.
Yeah, we've seen just +1/+1 for sidekicks on other things.
Yeah,
which aren't 6 cost.
Exactly. There's a 4-drop Malekith that just does it better, but doesn't apply to the Space Marines. So maybe you want the Space Marines buffed as well. I don't know, but C+ seemed fine. You gave it a D+. It is okay. That's probably more like it.
I wish this had the global. If this had the global, then I would just say throw this on any Space Marines team.
You're right. It probably doesn't make the cut on a Space Marines team. So yeah, I would bump it down. I shouldn't give it a C+, even though it does apply to out of set stuff. Shannon Carter was 6 and gave it 2. Was she really 6? Or was she 5? She gave him +2/+2. Yeah, made them all 3/3s. That was a sick card.
She was 6.
She was 6? Okay, cool. Yeah, she was fun.
But she was max 1. This is max.
Max 4. So. You can buy 4 6-drops. Yeah.
Buy 4.
All right, last one is the 13th Primarch. 7-drop again.
Oh yeah.
Regenerate.
This is a joke, isn't it?
Regenerate. I like this one. I would take Regenerate over Impulse Prep It. But
I don't know.
It's trashy.
This would actually, to be fair, just for the troll factor alone, how mad would your opponent be if they've spent all this time getting that 6/9 out of the field,
and then it comes right back, and then it just comes right back. This card's
would be hilarious.
A D to an F. Which did you give it? D or F?
I gave it a D. But it would be hilarious if they spend 9 bolts to pay it off. That would be very funny. I would like to
then
see
you're
that.
Playing very casually.
Yeah,
that's the line right there. All right, let's keep on cruising. We're almost there. Typhus, disgustingly resilient, 7-drop mask, an 8/8 on top, 2/8/8, range 2. Can we agree that range 2 is bad for a 7-drop? That's not nearly impactful enough. I gave this one an F. No, excuse me. I gave this one a D. You gave this one an F.
I was not kind to Typhus.
This card's bad. Range 2 is bad. Leave it in the field. Range 2 KOs something bigger, and all your other range characters KO something smaller.
To be fair, this is better than all the other Typhuses. Yeah,
there you go. So we'll bump it up. We'll give it a D like I gave it.
I gave it an F+.
Yeah, F+. You did. F+. The next Typhus is Host of the Destroyer Hive. 6-drop Attune.
Yep.
That's an F.
And my comment was just nope.
Nope. That is a total F.
Because just like the Thor that has the global, which makes actions cheaper, has Attune.
And you don't buy it.
And the
ever.
global.
I once considered buying it, and then I thought, no, that is a bad idea. In this terrible spot that I'm in, where I would actually consider buying a 6-drop Attune, I think I was actually playing against you when I considered buying it, and then I was like, no, I should buy 2 3-drops instead.
Yep.
And that worked out probably better than it would have versus buying a 6-drop with Attune. This card's an F.
2/8/8 is nice, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. So is an ability that is like worth a 6-drop. Yeah.
Attune isn't terrible.
No, it's good. Attune is good, just not on a high drop, and we've seen that multiple times.
Maybe in draft is actually okay if you can get out quick enough.
Sure, and use some actions, which were almost the basic actions. There's a few of them that you would want to buy.
Yes.
All right, Typhus Nurgle's Gift. While Typhus is active, prevent the first point of damage to you from each source each turn. We've talked about this ability. It was printed on Mortarion, just worded differently. It's not worth it. But this is on a 6-drop versus that 7-drop, right? I think.
Yeah, but that had global, right?
Might have, yeah, +1 defense, yeah. You gave this one an F plus as well, right? No, you gave this one an F.
Straight up F.
I gave this one a D minus. I gave this one a D minus. It's not very good. Hey, all right, we're at the last character of the set. Vero Tigurius, Chief Librarian, 4-drop. When fielded, prep a die from your bag. What do we think?
I was mean to this, actually. I was just in a bad mood after the Typhus.
After you look at Typhus.
I gave this like, an F. No, this is okay.
No, why? I don't think it's okay. I think it's subpar, and I think I stand by that. It is definitely subpar.
It's definitely like, that's just way better Winfielded Prepper Die characters.
100%.
That are cheaper, have better cycling potential.
Well, this is the same exact ability that was printed on the 2 characters in Harley Quinn, right? Joker, right?
There's a Joker and the Harley Quinn, right?
Yeah.
Do that.
Right,
there's
something
also
like that.
Mantis, and there's a Katana. Is it Katana? Zatanna.
Yeah.
From the old sets. It's just, who cares? Like, and then if you're gonna roll it on level 3, and then you're gonna have to work out how to do 5 damage to it.
No, this isn't very good. It's not very good. It's, you get the trigger once or twice, and yeah, it's not very good. What did you give it?
F.
F. Unplayable?
It's not
unplayable. It's like a C minus. I think it's a C minus.
Yeah. I agree, but
because you get some benefit from it, and it's worth picking up in a draft because you do get some benefit from it, and you need that edge. And it's a 3/5. A 3/5's not bad for
terrible Typhus's.
There's better.
Rubbed off on it.
Yeah. All right.
I don't want a 3/5 on one field. It's just ridiculous.
No. Vero Tigurius, Hood of Hellfire, the 3-drop version, says when fielded, name a non-sidekick die, then draw a die. If it was the named die, prep it. Then the fielded Vero Tigurius die gets +2/+2. Otherwise, return the drawn die to your bag. So, best case scenario, you pull a die that you named that was non-sidekick, and you get a 5/7 for 3. Which is cool.
But that's crap, right? Because you want, when fielded,
and he prepped the die.
I know, you want to KO it so you can use the next turn, not give it +2 attack, +2 defense.
Or you push and it doesn't somehow get blocked. I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe you a rare absorbing man and pull 2 dice, and then you get the double buff for that sweet meme action.
I gave this a D+ because I think putting this on a Professor X team, an old school PXG global,
you know what you're getting.
Have no sidekicks. This on turn 3 is pretty good because you can basically take all your psychics out. You know what you're buying. You're going to field this. You're going to prep that die. It's going to go through because your opponent's going to have no characters. Yep. They're saving all the sidekicks to spam.
You just dealt 5. Hooray. And then that's a quarter of their life down, you know? That's pretty sweet. It's a fun little card that's C- in my book.
I just currently I don't want 3/5 anywhere near.
If you're in limited format, I'll take the possible upside, and then we'll deal with it going forward. You know, it is what it is. But a 3/2, I mean, he's 3 no matter what, so that's kind of nice. Let's talk about my favorite one. Let's talk about this one, Rod of Tigurius, of which I've actually put on a team already and tried out, and it's fun. While Chief Librarian Tigurius is active, so we'll just ignore the fact that they didn't call it Vero and just move on. Well, your other Space Marine character dice cannot be targeted by your opponents. Awesome.
Yep.
So character dice, again, not character card or anything. So you mentioned Shriek can still target this, but range can't.
Yep.
Which is super cool. So you have one-sided range, and it protects itself too from range. Because he's affiliated, and he doesn't protect himself. You have to KO it. All the damage comes to him. But it's hard to KO him because Vero Tigurius gets +1/+1 for each other active Space Marine character you control. So if you had him, doesn't count obviously. You have Primaris Intercessor. You have Primaris Aggressor because you want that sweet ramp action from a bunch of range characters, and you have. A couple of random 2-drop things, right? This card is pretty cool.
This is really good. This is really strong. Anything that kind of stops your opponent from targeting your stuff is very, very good.
Yeah.
And very oppressive to your opponent because they have to basically spend their Shriek target to target this, which is great if you know you're going to play against a Shriek. This card arguably makes the Space Marines maybe a viable team.
It very much makes it a lot of fun. I'll put it that way too, because there was a point in one of the games I played with this that I had 2 of these out in the field, and like 3 or 4 other Space Marine affiliated characters, excuse me. And so I had like 2 7-drops that were just never getting removed. Just straight up 2 7-drops never got removed. Pushed with them multiple times because you can't let your 14 damage go through, you lose. And it was sweet. It was very sweet.
Yep.
So this card to me is
this is a win condition, right? You just stack up all the Space Marines in your field.
And all of a sudden now it's a while active ability, not a when fielded, so you don't care about if it stays in the field or if it, you want to cycle it anymore. You don't have to cycle it. It's just there.
Yep.
And boom, there you go. Yep. Unfortunately, looks like we're dropping frames like crazy, but I don't know. Chat hasn't said anything, so I'm just going to assume that we're good. I love this card. This is one of my favorites of the set, and this is one of my favorites in the entirety of Warhammer, the Warhammer set. It's super cool, and it makes me want to play a lot of Space Marines teams. I gave this a B/B+, but it's probably like I don't know. What do you think?
I gave it a B+. Yep.
Well, there you go.
The double duty again is a bit like I can't remember what it was called, the one with the global and the deal 1 damage when you attack.
Yeah, it
does that double duty again. It has good control elements and has also an inbuilt sort of win condition.
Yeah, it's fun. This is a cool card, and it's a 3-drop too. It reminds me 3-drop mass character that has a insane value. Reminds me of old school Ronin. Just takes
this has
me
win
back.
Condition on top of that, right?
Exactly. What more could you want?
Because you don't want this to die. So now the 3/5 becomes a super good buff to it.
Yep. All right, you ready? We're gonna move on to some of the best cards in the set.
Yeah,
basic actions. Oh, there are some good cards that we just talked about. Fun thematic casual cards. Semi-competitive, maybe like 1 or 2 that you could slap onto a competitive team at a mid-level tournament, that sort of thing. A lot of good inset stuff. But now we're going to talk about the basic actions, which
actions where it's at. Yeah.
Surprisingly, the actions are where it's at. So let's slip over to Bolter Drill. What do you think about Bolter Drill? Why don't you read Bolter Drill for us?
Yeah, so deal damage to target opposing character die equal to the number of character dice you control. On a burst or double burst, also deal that character die 1 additional damage as 2 cost. So it's just
as
2 cost.
2-drop.
2 cost removal. Yeah. Super good.
Yeah, and it's counting character dice. So you had 3 sidekicks and you play this, you deal 3.
Yep.
Or
Just
4.
Get rid of anything.
Or 4.
The worrying thing is your opponent gets it as well, right?
Yep.
That's the bad part. But it's super strong. I don't know.
It really is. Yeah. It's solid. Like you run this and you wipe Shriek all the time.
Yep.
You run this and you wipe. I mean, what are some of those? Literally, you always wipe a Yanti, but that's neither here nor there. Boom boom, you always wipe.
Generally, you're going to have at least 3 characters on the field, which pretty much takes out anything.
Yes, exactly.
Most die at 3.
Totally. You could really try hard, believe in yourself, fill up your board, and KO a Hulk. Power of Attorney. That's not out of the realm of possibility, especially if you run 2 of these. Like you pick up 2 of these.
Mm-hmm. The thing with it, right, is that to make this action better, you want to do something you're doing anyway in the game.
There's a fielding
stuff.
You
want to be getting your characters out in the field.
Yeah. Exactly. That's why this card is good, man. This card is good. What'd you give it?
Yep. 2 cost, C+, but I could definitely see why someone would give it a B, but yeah, C+.
I think that's a perfect place to sit it. Yeah, no, that's a perfect. You could maybe slip this onto I don't want to say WKO low, because WKO is really up there when it comes to meta stuff.
I definitely see that if you don't have an action space and you want to just have a double duty way of getting rid of Shriek, or maybe
it does even make something like that. Yeah, certainly. But I give it a C+ as well to kind of go with yours. Totally. Next up, we have Chaos Warp. Here we go. 3-drop. Draw and roll every die in your bag. Deal 1 damage to target player for each die showing a character face that you roll, and take 1 damage for each die showing an energy face that you roll. Place the rolled dice back to your used pile. Also, afterwards, place a die from your used pile into your bag, and that's on the double burst face. So 1 out of 6 times, you get to prep one thing, or basically prep one thing.
Ooh, I didn't even see the double burst. That's not even on the Dice Coalition, unless you click on the card.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? What do you think about Chaos Warp, Ben?
I gave it a C+ without the double burst, and with that double burst, I'm giving it a B now.
B. He's going really B. Good.
So cards like this are very good anyway, in my opinion. So stuff like Creative Food Mortar and Xavier's School.
Yeah.
Emptying out your bag and putting stuff into your use pile is very strong. Ways of resetting your bag so you can manipulate it more, so you can pull things out when you need to. Then added to that is kind of this risk reward thing, which I quite like.
I love the risk reward thing,
and it's always going to deal your opponent more damage than it is you, probably. It works very well if you can manipulate something like Mimic teams where you can get.
Is it always dealing your opponent more damage than you?
On average, as long as you don't have your sidekicks, right? As long as you can clear out sidekicks, on average, your opponent's going to take more damage than you.
Yeah. If you can clear out your sidekicks, is really the thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. So if you ran the numbers, I think it's always dealing you more damage than your opponent, though, right? Assuming that you can't clear out all of your sidekicks. Any sidekick that you... Yeah, so
faces, right?
Generally you're taking more. Because to clear out all of your sidekicks would be a Herculean task.
Yep. Well, it depends it depends what format you're running it in, right? Like
true,
with Mimic Ramp. With Mimic Ramp, where you're controlling your bag anyway, it's kind of cool.
I really want this card to be fun. Like I want it to be, but I just know the moment that I pick it up, purchase it, and then use it, I'm just gonna deal myself 5 and watch all my stuff go to used. Like that carefully crafted bag where you just like get, okay, this is what I'm gonna roll. Here comes Chaos Warp, and then it just all goes. It all just goes to the used, and you're just sitting there with 5 less health. I gave it an F because I just don't ever see it actually going the way I want, but I really want it to work.
I have much more faith in my abilities to manage a bag, obviously.
Well, no, you're totally right that you can like lower it significantly, fairly easily in the game of Dice Masters, right? Fairly easily, you can make this thing a lot less worse, but I don't see the same upside that you do of getting everything into your used and then trying to manage it from there. Like, yeah, you can get it all into used and then like PXG some things.
Well, so, ideally what you want to do, right, is you want to have a turn where you manipulate your bag, so you've got a bunch of stuff in your prep, so you've mainly got your psychics in prep. Then when they're in the transition phase, you play this, so all the dice you're drawing are the characters you didn't get, or the characters you just bought. So on something like a Yanti team, if you can, in your field, just put all the psychics in your field.
Yeah.
And then roll all the 1-cost bat signals to deal that last massive amount of damage. But my dream is you have Mr. Miracle in the field, okay?
Okay.
You have Boomerang, you have Vicious Struggle, and you have this. And it's just beautiful because you just deal 2 damage. And then every time you take damage, you deal it back to them. It's so good.
That would be funny. That would be funny. Except I hate you because you just said Vicious Struggle, and
but the Vicious Struggle and Chaos Warp is a legit card you can run. That's a combo.
It's a combo, right?
As long as Luke Cage is not there, that's fine.
That's a combo. We're moving on from Chaos Warp. We're talking about Excessive Ordnance. 4-drop, deal 6 to target character. Pay 1 bolt. Target character die gets +1 attack. So it's a bolt fix or a bolt pump.
Great global.
Yeah, great global.
A useful die.
And a useful die. This is essentially pay 4, play it, KO whatever you want.
Yep.
And it's a bolt pump. This card's awesome.
Yep. So when you're probably the reason you put this on your team is for that bolt pump, right? If you have lots of bolt characters and your win condition is swinging through, you probably want this. So it's this card versus Raise Shields, right? And they're both equally as valid as each other. Do you want to give your characters Overcrush, or do you have unblockable stuff? Well, this is removal.
Yeah, it's just
and just
sort
nice
of
having that option.
Yeah, it's basically like, do you want control or do you want aggro ability? You know. Uh-oh, we dropped again. Waiting for it to turn back on. Oh, we're dropping like crazy. Goodness gracious. Oh no. Live stream offline. Live stream online. Live stream offline. Live stream online. Hopefully it's back. Let me see. If I turn the sound back on, will I hear myself?
Or do you have unblockable stuff while this is removal?
Yeah, it's just sort of
having that
see if
option.
it dies.
Yeah,
where
it's
we're talking.
basically
Like, do you want control or... Yeah, no, it seems to be working. That's weird. It just, like, it shows that it dies, but then it hears us talking the whole time. So, sorry we've been sitting here for 15 seconds because of my fault. It's my fault. My bad. Yeah, no, this card's awesome. I like it. I gave it a C+, right? What did we give it?
Yeah, I gave it a C.
Yeah, C, there you go. I would give it a C+, because, yeah, you'd slap it. Maybe even better than that. Maybe it's one of those things that you do heavily consider because it's a bolt pump.
That global is great, yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably be higher than that.
And you'll see it, and you probably want to know if you probably want to just be aware of it, just because it's an extra option.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
To do some damage.
All right, you ready? You ready to talk about the next one?
The only A in the set.
Read Instant War. Oh, it's not the only A in the set.
Isn't it? Did you give any other? I don't think I gave any other characters.
Oh, not in this video, no. Not in this video, no.
No.
What you got?
So Instant War, so 3 cost. Each player draws 3 dice and fields all sidekick dice drawn this way. Each player places the remaining dice in their bag or use pile.
Yes. There's so many reasons why this is a yes.
Mainly because of Chaos Warp, right? You want to thin the bag from
there
sidekicks.
You go. You need the Chaos Warp combo.
Here we go.
That's part of the reason you need Chaos Warp. So that you can instant war your stuff out and then boom.
See?
Boom. All right, so let's name all of the things that we can off the top of our heads. What are the things that this is good with? And if you're in chat, play this game with us. Let's start with modern, yeah, because that's gonna get crazy fast. All right, what do you got? Hit me with one. Give me one.
Okay, the obvious one is my favorite one is Green Devil Mask.
Green Devil Mask. That's a great starting one.
It's so fun.
Oh, this time it really is down. Dude, I gotta get better internet connection, or I gotta tell everyone to get off my internet. Someone's cheating, getting on my internet. Oh, it went down. Now we're back.
Here we go. Zach's saying stuff.
Yeah, Zach took the other two that are good right off the top of my head. So Mimic, yeah, that would be just disgusting. But you don't need PXG if you decide to run this card, because that's just overkill. You just buy this and throw Mimic on there, and then you're there. It's not as consistent, but you roll everything, period. Jubilee is the other one that was mentioned, and that was the other one that we thought of. Jubilee, obviously.
Yep. Just another one, the Enchantress, where when your opponent fields a character, deal all their other characters one damage.
Ooh, that's a fun one.
Yeah, do this. Potentially all their field takes 3 damage.
Okay, Ragnarok / the Tsar Colossus that KOs all sidekicks and deals damage directly.
That's good. There's a doppelganger that does that as well, right?
I don't know. Doppelganger. Oh, you mean from Spider-Man? Yeah, the Maximum Carnage, definitely.
There's also the Huntress, which does a similar thing to the Enchantress, where when they field a character, deal one of their characters 1 damage.
Danger Room and Nobby.
Yeah.
You throw more stuff in the field, whether they wanted to or not, and now all of a sudden it's OTK because they can't play around it that way.
But I mean, anything where you're wanting to, if you have a way of clearing the board.
Venerable Dreadnought plus the Dreadnought range ramp.
Yeah, that's horrific.
You get 3 attack, three new attackers that can trigger range, and then 3 things that you can KO with range to prep 3 dice.
Yep.
This card's good.
Anything where you want to get, if you have a way of clearing your opponent's field, it's just a great way to get extra dice on the field, right?
All right, or hear this. Common Jubilee for the board wipe, but then the Black Widow that gives everything +1 attack when fielded.
Yep.
So then you wipe away. I mean, like, that's like a casual combo right there.
Yep.
Ugh. Oh yeah, you combine this with the 2-drop that we talked about. That's a +1/+1, and KO.
On the where when your psychics when your opponent's psychics are KO'd, all your characters get +1 attack, +1 defense.
Oh, or that one. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, like,
it's ridiculous.
Good lord. This card's amazing, and that's just looking at modern age stuff and like inset stuff. Yeah, you throw this into Golden Age, and it's like, ugh.
This is by far the best card in this campaign box.
Yeah. There's no chance. There's nothing that competes with this on sheer power level alone. You may like something for fun or for like enjoyment factor or for like memes or whatever, but this card is like, you slap it on a team, you're just gonna win if you can manage things the right way, and it does so many different things. It's so versatile.
The other thing is, if you have a team that runs on this, your opponent is going to not benefit from buying it. Like, what's your opponent going to do? Make you field 3 sidekicks and you do 3 burn damage with Jubilee?
Hooray! Exactly.
Yeah. So the only thing they can do is buy them out and hope that they don't roll them. They roll them as energy.
Roll them as double energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's an awesome card, and it's so, like you said, it's so hard to play around. Like Scarlet Witch. Woohoo!
This is the card you're going to need to know how to play against. And how to play with.
How to play with, yeah. It's super sweet. Going forward, too. Assuming that all, things being equal, huge Dice Masters competitive events go, on with a modern rotation kind of thing, this will become staple.
Interesting that there was an interview with Eric Lang a few months back, maybe a year or so ago, that he said that they were thinking about banning the card Rally.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and this does a very similar thing to that card, and that card was super good.
Old school Rally, man.
Yeah,
that card is really good.
So this card, I mean, maybe even better than Rally. So yeah, super good, super broken, awesome.
All right, you ready to move on?
Yep.
Into battle, 4-drop. Prep 2 dice from your bag. If both dice are sidekick dice, prep an additional die. And then on the double burst and the regular burst, roll all dice prepped this way. So you cannot use this with the spot because it preps first. It does not draw and roll.
No.
So
I wish the burst ability were May. I don't like having to maybe roll them if I don't want to. There are better versions of this, but this is a nice, alternative.
This is a strict. I will say this is a strictly better nasty plot.
Well, is it strictly better? Because sometimes you're just going to get dice that you don't want to roll.
Yeah, I guess if you consider the rolling a downside, like you want the second reroll on something.
Yeah.
Sure.
Or if this is the last die you pull. And you have no other dice in your. If you don't have any, if you draw a bunch of characters and you don't have that much energy because it's one of the things you did last, you don't want to roll them, do you? You want to prep the, 3 fielding cost Thanos that you have.
Sure.
Rather than trying to.
Well, therein lies the playing skill. Like if you see it on the burst or double burst, it's not like.
Yeah, but if you if you chain a bunch of these, is what I'm saying.
Sure. In that sense, there's, like we were about to say, there's a lot of better options, but this is fine.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah,
it's fine. Someone mentioned it's a better superhero registration act. Maybe.
Maybe
I don't know about better, but yeah, it's different. It's a different version of it.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and I like the way they're doing this. Kind of like they had the initial gearing up, and now they've just done various shades of that, right? So you have relaxing. You have this. You have the one from.
Got SRA.
Infinity. Infinity, where you roll 1 for each of the different types of energy characters you have.
Which someone totally. Well, I won't spoil it. There was a really cool combo that you could do with it.
There's stuff, right? And so this is just another shade of that.
Yeah.
Again, if your opponent probably isn't going to buy these out straight away, which might be nice.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah, no, totally. We both gave it a C+.
Yep.
Closing things around, we got a couple left. We've got Might of the Astartes. Yeah. 2-drop. Until the beginning of your next turn, character dice cost your opponents 1 more to field. Also, character dice character dice cost you 1 less to field. And that's on the burst and double burst. This does stack as well, which is interesting because it's a 2-drop. Your opponent has access to it, so that's less interesting.
It, yeah.
But
I like it. I give it C+.
The fact that you can stack this, and so your opponents have to pay 2 more to field anything, makes it basically your opponents can't field anything on that turn, and that is very powerful.
Yes, your opponent can do that to you.
They can definitely do it to you, unless you're running some sort of an action-based team, in which case you don't care.
That's true.
A la like you wanted to make a boom boom control version, something like that.
This might be something that you put on a Kiln team.
Yeah, or if Kiln and Golden Age Satchel,
Yeah, that might be cool. So you're making their stuff harder to field, making them
harder to purchase,
pay more to buy.
Yeah, stuff that you don't care about.
It's
cool.
Yeah, if you're doing stuff with collector as well, where you don't really care about.
Yeah, fielding costs, right? You just get the thing out, you need it out, and just kind of dance around this ability, and there you go.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think it's cool. I gave it a B. I thought that highly of it. Maybe I was just super hyped from the instant war high that you get, just like that itch,
No, I definitely think if this was a non-basic action, it would definitely be a B. Just the fact that your opponent can buy it as well. Mm-hmm. It'd be interesting to see how quickly these guys get bought up at the beginning of the game. I mean, I would probably buy one of these turn 2 or 3 if my opponent was buying them.
Exactly, just to pick one up so that your opponent can't buy all 3. Totally. Yeah. All right, you ready? Yes. Orbital Strike. 4-drop. Reroll all your active character dice. Deal damage to target opponent equal to the combined attack of all rolled dice, showing character faces. KO the rest of the rolled dice, and then skip your attack step this turn. On the double burst, though, instead of skipping your attack step, you may attack with only 1 character die this turn. Only 1 character dice this turn.
That's such a stupid burst. That's such a wind-up double burst, isn't it? Maybe like last, you attack through with the last Ant-Man to do that last point of damage. If you've rolled it back, maybe.
My god, I'm sorry, but this card is one of my favorites in the set. So cool. In the entire, this is the memeiest of all of the cards in this set. I can't think of a more meme card. This and Chaos Warp hit that one spot in my heart. Yep. They're just so hilarious. This card, in and of itself, creates a completely new variant of a way you could play Dice Masters. Just call it Orbital Strike variant. You cannot attack. Every turn, you must Orbital Strike. And just see what happens. Imagine if that's the variant, what kind of teams you would create.
Yep.
That would be so fun. And surprisingly, this is actually workable as a card.
It'd be super good, yeah.
This is, especially in draft, you can't vault over giant walls. So just get lucky, re-roll all of your stuff, and deal 6 or 7 or whatever, and you're good. Yep. Most notably, also, this can be paired with that Vero Tigurius. Any sort of persistent buff, you'll get that buff if you re-roll it, and you'll deal that damage. And then you get your board still. You don't have to sacrifice the board. Well, sacrifice outside of the stuff that goes to KO.
See, my mind went to when KO'd abilities.
No, me too. I tried that as well because I put this on a team for weekly Dice Arena.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I looked for some stuff to put on it with when KO'd ability, and it didn't quite sit there well for me, so I didn't really run anything that went with it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, what did you think of?
I think that my thing is the dupe. The dupe with the when KO'd, you capture one of their die until the start of your next turn.
Yeah.
So you do this, you clear up their field with that. Maybe you get 6 damage out of it because you have 6 attack on one face. And then they're losing their characters for next turn as well.
Yep, totally.
So they can't swing back at you. The Wolverine that clears their field as well.
This is a super funny card.
bunch of stuff. Yeah, with momentum as well, that could be super good.
Exactly, you just field it all back up. You can't push through with the attack because it limits you from doing that.
Yeah, but who cares?
But who cares? Or maybe, can you, like, nefarious broadcast to cancel the effect of this action die?
No, nefarious broadcast cancels globals.
Oh, man.
What cancels actions? There must be something that cancels actions.
Wait. No, that's not it. That would be sick, though. That would be a super meme combo.
Can't you just play this during your attack step?
Can you?
Can't you just attack and then use it?
I don't think so because of the skip your attack step thing. I don't think so. Just because of that. But maybe you can. I don't know. Attackers are assigned. Blockers are assigned. You can't really skip the attack step. That would need a ruling. But this is hilarious. This is totally hilarious.
Is super fun. I mean,
I didn't even give, like, I'll be honest, I did not even give this a rating. I just put meme next to the rating spot because this is the super memeiest card and I love it so much.
I give it a good old-fashioned C brackets B+.
There you go. There you go.
This is super fun.
Give it the
this 2. Is going on my teams.
Give it the 2.
My teams.
All right, so if this is a variant of Dice Masters, it's called Orbital Strike variant. All you got to do is build a Ring of Winter Dragon team. Then you're just throwing dragons at the dude. Just coming in, swooping down.
But you just get the biggest stats possible, right?
Exactly. You get the biggest stats you can. Find the biggest stats. Giant Man style, you know, like old school Giant Man.
Yeah.
Roll that 1/1, get real sad. Anyway.
That's why it's so good, right?
That's why it's hilarious. That's why it is hilarious. Rolling Thunder. Oh no, go ahead. Finish it up.
You're gonna like one time, one game. You're gonna do a ridiculous. Like, you're gonna do like 40 damage off this thing, and then the next game you're gonna do maybe 1 damage. And
exactly. Lose your whole board. All right, so this actually happened. We were playing. I brought this on the Space Marines team that had Vero Tigurius, right? And I was totally getting smashed because that team's like very casual. And I was playing against, I forgot who, Nick. I was playing against Nick in the Weekly Dice Arena, and he brought Ring of Winter Dragons, right? Which fits perfectly for this Orbital Strike. And so we both clearly understood the game was pretty much over. Like, I think he had lethal on the board or something. I was at 6 and he had like a dragon, right? And so we both just said, all right, gentleman's agreement. No one can kill the other without using Orbital Strike. and so we bought up the Orbital Strikes, and he got 2 of them. I got 1 of them. He rolled like 3 different Orbital Strikes and rolled no character faces and wiped all of his dragons multiple times. And I'm 1 turn away. I missed the pull of the Orbital Strike, so it's the only die in the bag. And he Orbital Strikes me for like 17 damage with like 3 different dragons, and I just to find out what would happen, pulled the Orbital Strike, rolled it, and rolled like 17 damage as well because I had 2 of those Veros that pumped themselves. It was a hilarious game, and this is going to make hilarious games, and that's why I love it.
Yep.
All right, let's cruise through the last ones. Rolling Thunder, 5-drop. It's the Mjolnir ability.
Yeah, it's okay. 5 costs too much.
5 costs is way too much. It's not worth it.
This is the worst action.
It's an F. I would never play this. It doesn't even have a global to make it better. It's a 5-drop F. It's an F. What do you give it?
A D, but yeah, it's targeted removal, which is good.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess it's targeted removal in that sense. Expensive. But for 5, you're not buying that. Right. Seething Corruption, 4-drop. It's staff. Your opponent can buy it, but they're not, getting the access of the trigger.
Combo of Staff and Danger Room, right? I think this is probably, they've refined both of those into a die that's probably going to see a lot of play.
Yeah, I think so. I like this card too, because you can buy multiples of it, so I give it a B.
Yep.
It makes a team.
I give it a B as well.
You build a team for this because it's a win condition.
Yeah, this is for sure going to go on people's teams. People are going to mess around with this.
Yep. In fact, after we're done, before I go to bed, I'm probably going to try to find another way to build a Seething Corruption team with some of the other things we mentioned earlier. And finally, Static Field. 2-drop, character dice, deal only 1 combat damage this turn. Also, it's got the global pay a mask, remove target attacking character die from the combat, which is the reason you would run this.
Yep.
Only reason. Character dice deal only 1 combat damage this turn. Doesn't do anything.
Maybe you just want to use it because you can always use it for a Yanti team.
Yeah, right. That's the reason, because it never has any drawback.
You know, like momentum. Sometimes you can't use it.
You can't use it. And then what was the other one? Improvised weapon. You can't use it.
Yep.
Zach hates this card so much. He stayed up for all 2.5 hours of this so he could say boo, ban it. Yep. Good on you, Zach. Good on you. Yep. You play it for the global, and it's that.
You do.
You play it for the global. All right, so that's the entirety of the box. That's everything you're getting. How does that make you feel? What are your thoughts?
Lots of good stuff for casual play. Some cool combo teams with the Space Marines. Probably the Plague Marines as well has some cool pieces that you can make. You could probably make a good Plague Marines versus Space Marines team.
Oh my gosh, that would be sweet.
You could do that pretty easily. I think Space Marines probably have it with that card that makes them untargetable.
I don't know, but Swarm is a good ramp engine in limited,
and you have just the one that just fill that right whenever you field them.
Yeah, and then you just get the one that's got all the buffs based on how many Poxwalker, 2-cost Swarm Poxwalker that also buffs itself.
So it'd be a fun little battle there.
Very thematic.
Awesome, amazing basic action cards in this set.
I totally agree. I think this is a really fun, thematic, casual to semi-competitive box full of goodies that you want to bust out and throw together rather than try to piece together from other sets. I think if WizKid's job was, or goal was, to go to a Warhammer player, hand them this box and say, hey, check out all these cool Warhammer things that work together, then they more than accomplished it. And they dangled out a couple of little nuggets, for like the more competitive player to just grab onto and go with. And I love it.
I think even more than the... I'm super pumped to draft this as a campaign box.
Yes, that would be great. That's a great point. This is awesome little campaign box.
Which I think is what they want to do, right? I mean, that world, they're running a draft box.
Are they?
Campaign. So yeah, drafting of a campaign box.
Well, good for them, because that's something they need to do, in my opinion. Just to continue to show draft as viability, because draft is so popular in Dice Masters.
The prize is a full set of TOA.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, I know. And it's going to be drafted in this set, so you're going to get your basic extra few cards.
No way, really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
This,
how much are plane tickets? No,
I know.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
All right, give me your top 3 favorite cards from this set, and I'm going to do my best to kind of show them on screen.
We lined up pretty closely with these, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We could have gone like 5, but nah. Top 3.
Yeah,
3 is perfect.
Instant War, I think without question, Instant War is the best card.
Yes. I don't think either of us mentioned. Did I mention Instant War? No, I cut it because it was on my list, but then I was like, nah, I'm going to pick something a little bit more fun.
Yep.
All right, lay it on me.
Plague Marine.
What's your first one?
Of Death and Disease.
All right, I'm going to throw it up on screen so people can see. Where did I put this spot? I just had it open. Plague Marine. The Vectors of Death and Disease. Come here, you.
It's the cool +1.
It is the really cool one. Look at that.
And then KO all the sidekicks, because that's hilarious.
Yeah, it is hilarious. It's also good.
Yeah.
It's also just really good, especially if, like we said, something gets printed where it's like, if your character dice get KO'd, there it is, right?
That's true as well. Yes, that would be really good.
What's another one?
I really like this card. I think it's just a really cheap 2-cost smart fist. Yeah, exactly. Excellent. Orbital Strike is my second.
Yes. It's a win con too. I mean, that's what's great about that. But yes, Orbital Strike. Let's talk about that again, because that card's amazing.
Bonkers, risk heavy.
Look, we're playing a dice game, right?
I know. Absolute brilliant ways to trigger KO effects, which are super fun.
Totally.
To trigger most of the time. could win you the game, could lose
Could
you the
win
game.
you the game. Exactly. And that's why you love it.
Hilarious, yeah.
And what's your final?
And then the Malignant Plaguecaster, Blades of Putrefaction.
There he is.
Yes.
Such a cool little subtitle. Blades of Putrefaction.
Yeah, I just think this one, I really like the rare Batman. And I like the oppressive kind of nature of making your opponent save a bunch of energy if they want to protect their stuff. And like I said before, the stats, I just really like the stats for when fielded.
And then cycle it.
Yeah.
Because you push with it. They don't let it through, because if they do, they're taking a quarter or more of health.
And they've lost most of their level 1 and level 2 characters.
Yep.
So they're working with level 3 characters that probably have more than two attack.
Mm-hmm. Good point. That's a fun little list of 3. All right, I'll do you one. Well, not do you one better, but I'll chime in. My top 3 include Plague Marine, Vectors of Death and Disease. It's a 2-drop win con. It's a 2-drop Malekith that has a hilarious downside, which I guess isn't that bad of a downside, because at least you roll a bunch of dice, or you push damage through, so that's nice. Orbital Strike is my number 2, because Orbital Strike is amazing. That card is so fun.
Yep.
We've talked about it enough, because it's just so fun. And my final one is one we talked about a lot too, is this Vero, Rod of Tigurius. Just because it's a 3-drop that pushes a team from really sort of casual understanding. Like we view this Space Marines team as very casual, very thematic, very fun for someone who just loves, the lore and that sort of thing to put together and just imagine while they play. But this card makes it to where you could take that team, still enjoy it in that same way, and then play play several different meta teams and go a little bit toe-to-toe with it. Because this card's good.
Yep.
And it makes it hard to deal with some of those other cards. So, yeah. This is a sweet card. And I just enjoy it.
This for sure is probably the best win condition or the best card to build a team around out of the characters.
Yeah, I agree. It's close though, because that sweet Plague Marine is also considerable. But yeah, no, this card's awesome. Those are my top 3. Wow, man.
Together, actually, no, they don't. Plague Marine's different.
Yeah, that would be crazy if they did.
Those, though. Yeah.
Team Up team. We haven't even talked about how good the set is for Team Up. Like, if you threw those 2 together, just imagine you threw these 2 cards together: Vero, Tigurius, Plague Marine. That's 4 different affiliations across 2 bodies.
Yeah, although Vero Tigurius powers probably make it better for Space Marines.
Certainly, but even if you just threw on 2 type of Space Marines, you're still, especially if you do the 2/2 drops that give range, or one of them that makes things cheaper and one of them that does something else. Even just that is a +2, and then you just team up for the win. It's just so good. It's gross. It's gross. This set's super cool. It's amazing. And it only took us 2 hours and 45 minutes to talk all the way through that. That was way longer than I was hoping for, but I don't care, because this was fun. I enjoyed it. Hopefully everybody else enjoyed it, and anybody that's watching and sitting through all of the drops and not drops, hopefully you enjoyed it as well. I'm going to try to find a way to edit the video together a little bit better afterwards, maybe another time after I've slept, because it's now real late for both of us. I can't imagine over there.
Yeah, not too bad.
So I think with that, I think it's time for us to sign off. Do you want to say anything to the people watching?
Yes, hello and goodbye.
There you go. I like that. Hello and goodbye. I'll say the same thing. I'll say hello and goodbye. Hello and goodbye. The stream is no longer starting at 5 minutes. The stream is now over. See you later.